Yeah. So in today's session, this is a session 6, right? It's been 6 weeks. Interesting, right? As if time flies. So yeah, today we are going to talk about discover real eternal love. Like how what is this all about? Is there something eternal really? Is there something like love which is eternal, right? So we'll try to understand that because we'll understand what is it all about. So anyways, so we'll discuss these topics, and when we discuss it, we'll discuss it. So let's begin with something called as attraction principle. Okay, so let me just tell you what is this all about, right? So essentially, this world, there's one thing which is we can easily observe, and that is called attraction principle. Okay, you can all clearly observe this. Okay, what it means, like it's a that we get attracted to something or the other. Like we get attracted to our relatives, our parents, our family, even our cat, dog, kittens, things like that, right? A magnet attracts iron particles, and an ant get attracted to sugar, right? So every sense, like there is something called as indriya, the sense, right? They get attracted to sense objects, like the indriya vastu, it's called in Hindi, right? Like for example, eyes are attracted to beautiful forms, ear are attracted to melodious songs, right? Tongue is attracted to gulab jamun or something like bhaji selling in train and things like that, right? Or fragrant smells, melodious music, beautiful form. So we get attracted to a lot of things, right? And whenever you get attracted, there is also something called as love, right? Oh, I love my mother, right? I love my sweet, this sweet. I get fascinated by this thing, right? I want to possess it, and I don't want to leave it. So that is the kind of love which develops when you get attracted to someone. And feel free to stop me, like if it doesn't make sense. So basically, and also when we exchange love, this love actually creates happiness. Okay. Suppose, for example, we love our parents. So by the exchange of that love, we experience happiness, right? You love gulab jamun, and when you put it in your mouth, you feel that happiness. Okay. So now, if you love a particular song and you hear it, then you stop. Like somewhere in the marketplace, you hear that song, and then you feel that happiness, right? So the principle is attraction causes love, which causes happiness, right? And it's a universal principle. Like for anything that we get attracted to, we fall in love with it, and then we feel happiness when we get it, right? It's a simple logic. There's nothing complicated here, right? So we'll try to understand this thing. So essentially, if we see what kind of things attract us in this world, right? So everyone gets attracted to something which is beautiful, strong, wealthy, right? It's a obvious thing, right? I mean, in the world, we get into those things, right? So, but why? I mean, so the answer that scriptures give is that because these qualities, these opulences, Aishwarya, Vaibhav, it's called in Hindi. So those opulences are present in God in the oceanic quantity, and I'll explain what it means, right? And the God is supposed to be supremely attractive. Okay, and this is what we'll try to talk about this particular principle. Okay, so basically, what happens is in this world, like somebody might be beautiful today, but they'll not be beautiful tomorrow, right? Yeah, somebody will be wealthy today, and they will not be wealthy tomorrow, right? So all these opulences, they are kind of relative and temporary. They will be there for some time, and they'll go away also. And they're relative, like wealthy as relative to this, all right? Beautiful than this types. Okay, they're nothing like absolute beauty or absolute wealth and things like that, right? So for this year, you may be Mr. India. Next year, you will not be. You will then get wrinkled hair, wrinkles and hair getting gray and things like that, right? So, but God is one thing which is permanently opulent. The opulences are permanent and non-relative. They are absolute. Okay. So, like for example, Muhammad Ali, right? We talked about it. Right? He was like a great boxer at one point, but then he got Parkinson disease, and it's like a blossomed flower in the morning and droops in the evening, right? I mean, when you grow up also from child to boy to youth, you get stronger and stronger, but after 40, 50, 60, your body starts dwindling and it decays, and you get old, right? So but for God, it's like a permanent opulence in oceanic proportion, and it never diminishes, right? So we'll try to understand more. Let's see. And tell me, like, if it doesn't make sense. But it will make sense after as we proceed. So essentially, okay, yeah, let's talk about this. Anybody knows what Bhagwan means actually? What is the meaning of this Bhagwan?
One who is a mixture of Panchabhuta.
One who is the mixture of
Panchabhuta. Earth, sky,
okay.
water, air, fire.
Oh, is it? Where did you get this definition?
Yeah, my daughter attending Balagokulam sessions.
Doesn't make sense because see, all of us, all this, whatever we see in this world, that's a mixture of these 5 things. Okay, this entire world is made up of these 5 things, right? So God has to be way bigger than this. I mean, these are material things, or God is spiritual. Like we are a spirit soul, right? We are spiritual. Similarly, God is also not material. God is spiritual. Okay, and in fact, we discussed it one time that, like, see, we are a very tiny spirit, but God is like a infinite as compared to us. If we are like a drop in ocean, then God is that ocean. Okay, and God is completely made up of spirit. Like we are made up of spirit and matter. Like we have a spirit inside, but a matter outside, right? A matter which is made up of 5 things. But God is completely inside out, is made up of spirit. That is the constituent of God as per scriptures. But we'll talk about Bhagwan. Bhagwan is a very specific term. Like you have heard a word called Dhanwan, right? Bhagyavan, Gunwan, right? And then there is a word called Bhagwan. Now, what does this Bhagwan means, right? So, you know about a person called Ved Vyas, right? So Ved Vyas ji wrote almost all the scriptures. We know that, right? All the Shrutis, Smritis, Puran, etc. So, but of course he had a father. I mean, like all of us, right? And his name of his father is Parashar Muni. And Parashar Muni, he wrote one book which is called Vishnu Puran. Okay, and in that book, Vishnu Puran, he gives the definition of the word Bhagwan. So what he says is this: Aishwaryasya samagrasya virasya yashasya shriya jnana vairagyoschaiva sannam bhagaiti gana. So he gives this definition of the word Bhagwan, and that is what I will talk about in this slide. What does this mean in English, right? So what it says, that God is made up of, like, 6 opulences. A God has the Bhagwan has 6 opulences in full. And what are those opulences? They are beauty, wealth, knowledge, fame, strength, and renunciation. Okay, these 6 things, anybody who possesses these things in full is called Bhagwan. Okay, now what does it mean, right? So essentially, this makes God all attractive. I mean, because as I said, right, we get attracted to these things, beauty, wealth, knowledge, and all. But God is full in these things. So he's supposed to be attractive, the most attractive thing in the world. Okay, all attractive. That's what the definition of Bhagwan is. Okay, and the soul also has this. But soul, because it's a tiny portion, it has it in minute proportion. But God contains these things in full, in unlimited proportions. Okay, so that's what it means, right? So let's try and understand it a bit more. So Bhagwan, as I said, made up of 2 words called Bhag and Van. Like there is a Gunwan, Gun plus Van. So Gun, a person who possesses qualities is called Gunwan. A person who possesses wealth is called Dhanwan, right? A person who possesses Bhag is called Bhagwan. Now Bhag means what? Bhag means opulence, Aishwarya. Okay, so a person who possesses Aishwarya is called Bhagwan. Okay, this is what it essentially means. So, and it comes in many places, like, that who's Bhagwan. Like, whenever Bhagavad Gita talks about anything, like whenever Arjuna speaks in Bhagavad Gita, it says Arjun Uvacha, like Arjun said, right? Whenever Dhritarashtra says something, it says Dhritarashtra Uvacha. But whenever Krishna says something, it says Shri Bhagwan Uvacha. Okay. So this is the word it uses in Bhagavad Gita. In Srimad Bhagavatam, similarly, whenever this happens, it says Shri Bhagwan Uvacha. Okay. So they know what is Bhagwan. Like for example, what level of Aishwarya are we talking about? Like see, a person can claim I am Lakpati, right? Because he has lakhs of rupees. Somebody can say I am Karorpati, and somebody can say I am Arabpati, right? But there is only one person who can say I am Lakshmipati, right? And that is Bhagwan. Like the level of opulence we are talking about, right? Unmatched, unparalleled, right? So that is Bhagwan. So yeah, talking about those six opulences, right? I mean, as you can imagine, right? I mean, the beauty. I mean, when we see these movie stars, oh, people get attracted because they are beautiful. But as I said, their beauty fades away with time, right? And we get attracted to people who have wealth, right? Bill Gates, Satya Nadella, XYZ, so many people, and we get attracted to them because they have a lot of wealth, right? So the wealth attracts people. Similarly, if a person has knowledge, right, we get attracted to them. I mean, like Einstein and all, and these are the pretty much six qualities which attract people. Just think about it. Like we get attracted to somebody who has one of these qualities, or the strength, right? Uh, or a person who has fame, like I mean Sachin Tendulkar or Mahatma Gandhi, people who are famous, we get attracted to them, right? And then we lastly or not the least is like we get attracted to people who are renounced, right? If a person is like in a saffron clothes, this that, we get attracted naturally, right? I mean, so these six qualities is what attract people in general. But as I said, in this world these qualities are in a minute proportion. They're not full, they are relative, right? That he is more renounced than this. But if we essentially okay, so the point is, why do they exist in this world? They exist in this world in a minute proportion. It is almost like as if they are like a reflection or shadow of these qualities which are incomplete somewhere else. Like if you see a mango tree, if you see this tree right in the picture, right, you see a reflection in the water. Okay, if you see that in the water there is a tree, then you will feel that, then you know that, oh, the real tree has to exist somewhere. Here you see a glimpse of that in this world, in the material world. You see a glimpse of that attractive qualities. It actually shows that these qualities has to exist somewhere in full. I mean, if you read Bhagavad Gita's 15.1, the 15th chapter, first sloka, it talks about something like this. Okay, that, oh, in this world there is a tree which has the roots up and the leaves down. Okay, where will you find that tree which has the roots up and the leaves down? You can find that tree only in a place, in a lake type of a setting, where there is a mirror image of the actual self, right, of the actual tree, right, as you can see in this picture. So these qualities, they exist in full somewhere else, not in this world, right? They are not absolute in this world. So they are short-lived, as I said, right? The real opulence is actually in a place called spiritual world. And spiritual world is a thing which we kept on talking in the previous sessions, but we'll talk about it in the next session, completely dedicated to spiritual world only. But as I said, this time, these qualities do exist somewhere else, and in a place which is called spiritual world, right? Any questions so far? Does it make sense, or I'm just like out of the blue? Why am I talking all of this?
Niranji, this may be out
Yes.
of the current thing. You may take it afterwards also. Like, I don't want to break the flow which is going on. So here, are we talking about Advait philosophy or a Dvait philosophy?
See, we are not, I mean, okay, there is only one philosophy. Like, see, here is the thing. I'm talking about Bhagwan, right? When I say Bhagwan, Bhagwan is a person. Okay, because Bhagwan cannot be a light or sound. Okay, as per Srimad Bhagavatam, the supreme truth can be realized in three forms: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita that he is the basis of Brahman and Paramatma. So there is only one truth, and that is a person, Bhagwan. Okay, if you want to discuss about why do I say this, that, oh, there is really a person, Bhagwan, this session will talk about it. This session will explain. Do you understand what is the meaning of Advaita and Dvaita philosophy?
Yeah, actually, I see. My grandmother is no more here, but she, like, I'm from it is Dashanami Vaishnav. So we had the Shuddhadvaita philosophy. So, like long back, like she tried to, like at that time I was very young, I couldn't make out much what she was talking about. So that's why that confusion is in my mind. Like there is an Advaita philosophy.
I'll explain you
and then
Shuddhadvaita
Advaita,
philosophy if you want.
And then we
I'll
got
explain what
into
is Shuddhadvaita after this
Yeah.
session if you want to. So basically,
Sure, that really helped.
you know about Ramanujacharya, right?
Yeah.
Right? He's the one who propagated this philosophy called Shuddhadvaita. So we can talk about it. That is not a problem. But yeah. So, but yeah, to put it in short, if you understand, if you actually belong to Shuddhadvaita, then you actually belong to a philosophy which believes in Dvaita. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Okay. I'll explain what is
like I
Dvaita
don't
and
belong
Advaita.
to anything. Like it's
Like,
like
that's
the
what you
thing is
think,
my grandparents. No, my grandparents were into that Shuddhadvaita, and then my parents just wandered off. So there was no continuity of knowledge from my forefathers to me. So that's
Yeah.
what has
I'll be
happened.
able to
So-
explain that. I mean, wait till the end of the session. I will be able to explain what is Dvaita and Advaita. In fact, this session, in this English well-formed slide, what we will be discussing is the Dvaita. Okay, just to put it short. But I'll explain. I mean, if you want really in verses and in Sanskrit and things like that, I'll explain all of that. Okay, so essentially, in short, yeah, and just hold on. I mean, like, you know, yeah, wait till the end of the session. I'll clear your doubts.
Sure. Yeah. Please don't break the flow. Like it's really interesting.
No, that's okay. It's okay. I'm used to it. Don't worry. So okay. Yeah. So where were we? So we were talking about the 6 opulence of God Himself. Okay. So let's talk about it. When we talk about beauty of the God, right? Okay. Then, as you can imagine, this is like so heavenly. It's as compared to material world. When Krishna, I mean, like, you know, Janmashtami is approaching. It's a very good set of slides to talk about Krishna. So when Krishna went to Mathura, thousands of people, I don't know if you have ever read the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Dasam Iskan. Basically, when Krishna went to Mathura, then there were like thousands of people who came to receive him, okay, and see his beauty. He's so beautiful. I mean, you know, what to talk about. I mean, so many beautiful verses which explains his beauty. It will go into a different direction altogether, right? But the level of beauty that God possesses cannot be compared with anything. I mean, like, you know, how he's received everywhere, wherever he went, is a very interesting description. For wealth, like all wealth, actually, as I said, right, you know, God is Lakshmipati. So all the wealth of this world belongs to him. When Bhagavad Gita says, starts when Krishna speaks, it says Shri Bhagavan Vacha. And Shri means Lakshmi Devi, right? You know, so the Lord of Shri said this like that. Okay, and essentially, I don't know if you know about Krishna's wealth. When he was in this world, then basically for each of the wives that he had, and there were a lot of them. Okay, he had palaces made up of diamonds and jewels and things like that. Right, you know, that is the level of wealth that we are talking about. Right, talking about knowledge. Bhagavad Gita, as you can see, these 2 pictures. The first one is for Bhagavad Gita, right, which is the most commented book in the world. The second one is for Srimad Bhagavatam, which starts with this Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kave Muyanti Jagsurya. It says that basically that God, the Krishna, actually gave the knowledge to Brahma. Okay, and that knowledge is the one because of which Brahma created this world, this universe, and things. Right. So all the knowledge of this world is coming from God, pretty much. Okay, that is the level of knowledge that we are talking about. Talking about strength, I mean, he lifted Govardhan Hill in his small finger of left hand, and he kept on holding it for 7 days and 7 nights, and as if you would have lifting some thermocol, right? That is how he lifted it. Talking about fame, I mean, think about it, right? He's known everywhere, like, you know, even 5,000 years when he came to the earth, but he's still famous, and his fame is increasing as we know of, right? So that is the level of God. That is the kind of God that we are talking about. Not like, you know, if you think about like, oh, even great persons of this world, you will know about them for a few hundred years at most, then you will even forget their names or what the kind of things they did. stuff like that, right? But for God, everybody knows him. It's not like, it's a very, very well-known fact who's God. And nobody needs to tell you. Renunciation, he's ready to become a servant of his devotees, right? The one picture which you see is that Sudama, right? When he came to Krishna's palace, then Krishna actually started washing his legs and things like that. He's ready to become, lift the shoes of Nanda Maharaj in his head, right? He was ready to become Arjuna's charioteer. I mean, if you think about a movie, when a movie star comes in, then he's actually comes in a bike with a jacket and with 4 or 5 friends, and that is how the entry of a movie star happens. But when Krishna comes in Bhagavad Gita, the first verse when he comes in, he's like sitting in the chariot as a charioteer, and that's how he enters the battlefield. So just think about what level of vairagya, what level of renunciation we are talking about here, right? So that is unparalleled. Like, it cannot be matched with our level of understanding. Correct. So so that is how these opulences exist in God as compared to us, right? So Bhagwan, as I said, is like, he's full on of these 6 opulences, and these 6 opulences, they appear minutely in the material world. And that's why we get attracted to these opulences, because the attraction is supposed to be with God, but we are just, as a soul, we are in this world. So we get attracted to these things, not with the ultimate truth that way. I mean, I don't know if you know, but the word Krishna in Sanskrit, I mean, if you figure out what is the word Krishna means, so the word Krishna means all attractive. That is what it means, basically, right? A person who's like all attractive. And that is the word meaning of Bhagwan, because Bhagwan is supposed to be all attractive, and that all attractive word is Krishna. That's what it means generally, right? So this is what Krishna says. I mean, this entire world, as I said, right, all the great qualities in this world is coming from God. And this is what he says in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad urjitam mevava tat eva vagachatvam mama tejom sha sambhavam. So essentially what it means is that all the opulences, all the beauty and the glorious things that is in this world, okay, they're just a spark of my splendor. He says that it's just a spark, a small tiny thing from my splendor is what the great things in this world are made up of. Okay, that is the level of God. So that is the level of God. But okay, any questions so far? Let's see here, because I don't want it to be one-sided. Whatever I'm saying, it's making sense, right? You don't agree with me? Why am I talking about it? Bhagwan is supposed to be someone else. Whatever. Why am I talking about this one person? It's okay, right? Whatever we discussed so far. Cool. No questions, no comments means all good. Yes, Shrivalji. You're on mute.
Actually, no, I thought of asking question, but it's not the right time to ask. I'll ask in that time.
No, you can ask. There's no wrong time. I mean, you can tell me, and we can discuss it later also if you want.
Okay, you please share the padyas in WhatsApp so that I can get through that.
Which one? Sorry, what is that?
I mean, about Guru or something. All the padyas, what slokas we chant here.
Oh, that shloka that we chanted in the beginning?
Yes.
Okay, I'll share that. Sure, I'll do that. Okay. Only one request is that if people want to turn on their camera, that will be really helpful, because that will help me figure out what's going on. If it is okay with everyone. Yeah, be a brave one and please turn on your camera. Thank you. Yeah, I'm waiting for others. So because it just helps us to have a connection, because virtual world is slightly problematic. We don't even know what's going on. Okay, so let's talk about the next topic. So we discussed about what does a Bhagwan means, and Bhagwan essentially means a person who's all attractive, and a person who has those 6 qualities, right? Those 6 opulence, and only that person is supposed to be called Bhagwan. There is no other person who's supposed to be called Bhagwan. That much is clear. I mean, Bhagwan has a specific meaning in Shastras, in Sanskrit, and all of that, right? So we talk about another topic about boss and das. Okay, let's see. So So God, as we understand, is like, so this is how the spiritual world would look like. Everybody is like blue in color. What it essentially mean is that they all have they're all spiritual beings, right? And God is the supreme person, and all the souls are supposed to serve him. Now, what does that mean, right? So actually, let's try to understand this. Okay, let's go ahead and let's try to understand this point. If anybody has a question, please feel free to ask. Unmute, ask, whatever it is. Right. So here is the thing, simple thing. I mean, there is a logic that plural subordinates, they serve a single supreme. For example, students, they serve the principal. Now, service doesn't mean they'll do a jhadu, or like, they'll do something bad or stuff like that. Yeah, Anukriti ji, tell me. You have a question?
So, okay. So, जो questions मैं पूछूंगी वो okay. So, जो major question है वो ये है कि like how can you trust this? Like how do you know that they are all in blue color? ये बहुत वैसा है, मतलब सिर्फ इसलिए कि स्क्रिप्चर्स में लिखा है ऐसा, मतलब स्क्रिप्चर्स में उनका क्योंकि डिस्क्रिप्शन है कि सब ब्लू कलर के हैं.
नहीं, सब ब्लू कलर के नहीं होते. That don't take it literally. But okay, see, it's not about blue color, but it's also about how the spiritual world looks like, how the God looks like, what does he do, and things like that, right? Who are we? All these questions are there, right? All these questions. Like, forget about God and spiritual world. That's a far-fetched idea. Let's talk about us. The question remains: who are we? Right? What are we supposed to do? Okay. Why am I not happy? These are basic questions. Let's start from there, right? And those questions, we have tried enough, right, in our life to find answers to them. We have tried enough to be happy, but were we able to find answers to these? Are we really happy? We have tried all of it, right? We have tried money. We have tried all sort of enjoyment. We have tried all sort of things, right? Now, as we discussed 2-3 weeks back, right? And what we discussed is that, okay, how do we get knowledge? And knowledge comes through an authority. Knowledge cannot come through a mental speculation. It is not possible, right? We talked and argued against it, right? So that is what it
ये
is.
कैसे पता कि उन लोग का जिसने ये किताबें लिखी हैं, जिन्होंने ये आइडियाज दिया या ये जो सच है, जो फैक्ट है, तो ये हम लोग को कैसे पता होगा कि वो फैक्ट है? मतलब हाउ डू वी नो कि उनका वो मेंटल स्पेकुलेशन नहीं है या
How do you
इमेजिनेशन
know that
नहीं है?
Tanzania is a real place? Have you ever been there?
Okay. So how do I know Tanzania is a, because people tell, people who live there, वो बताते हैं भाई उनका देश है. हाँ,
Exactly. So
तंजानिया
these
के
people
बारे
are
में
realized
ज्योग्राफी
people.
में पढ़ते
The
हैं.
people who tell it, they are realized people. Okay. Ved Vyas was not a joke. Okay. As per scriptures, Ved Vyas was a very, very realized person. Okay. In a category of God himself. Okay. He's called Satyavesha. I mean, so he was in a category of God himself. When he wrote it, he knew what he's writing. So the point is, okay, you will say like,
अच्छा,
so
ठीक है. तो तंजानिया या कोई भी देश या अर्थ गोल है, ये पूरी दुनिया को लाइक यूनिवर्सली सबको पता है. तो वेद व्यास ने जो भी लिखा या ये जो लोग भी रियलाइज्ड पर्सन है, तो फिर इन लोग के तो फिर जो भी मतलब इन्होंने लिखा या जो इनका नॉलेज है वो तो फिर मतलब दुनिया के कोने कोने तक हर किसी को पता होना चाहिए था ना. मतलब इट मस्ट बी अ यूनिवर्सल ट्रूथ.
Tanzania is a country. ये हर एक को पता नहीं. For example, electron is there. We have not all of us have seen it, right? Mostly none of us have seen it actually, right? But we believe कि electron is there. Why? Because it is repeatable knowledge. Anybody can go through that theory and experience that electron is there, correct? And that's why we all believe in it. Now, this truth that we are talking about is repeatable. Okay, when I say, I'm not talking about a spiritual world too much. That is not my point. I'm talking about some other fact. If you really want to be happy, you follow this principle. It's a repetitive knowledge, and you can be happy about it and feel happy. Everybody experiences the same thing. It is like science. Okay, there is a theory. You do experimentation, and you have observation. So whatever you do, you will definitely, all of us get the same observation. And like we talked about last time that we should do mantra jap, naam jap, right? Anybody who does it goes through similar stages. And after some time, like, the higher stages, when you reach, you experience pleasure, pain, like, you experience happiness. And that happiness is constant for all of them. Like, they all experience that happiness. So that's the point. They all get purified. So it is universal that way. I mean, like, this Nam Jap, as I talked about last time, right? The founder of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada, he went to West, okay, to people who didn't know anything about Krishna, who could not even speak that name properly, right? He told them, go ahead and do this. And they did it, and they got the same experience, same purification as anybody, a great Brahmana who's doing it here would have got the same purification. They got the same thing. Those things got spread out in various countries, including Pakistan and UAE and so many other places, China and whatever. And all of them experience the same pleasure, right? So it shows that it's a universal principle. Anybody can experience it. Just that it starts from some theory, and the theory has to be understood. You have to do that practice, and then you get the same observation, right? And
प्योरिफिकेशन, जब आप प्योरिफिकेशन बोलते हैं तो उसका क्या मतलब है?
हाँ, purification का मतलब, yeah, what I mean is that we have actually, when you do a karma, right, any action, what law of karma is that by action you get a reaction, right? Action and reaction. This is a layman's understanding of karma. Okay, as per Vishnu Puran, okay, Parashar Muni, because we talked about him, what he explains is much more than that. He says, when you do an action, there are 2-3 things which come out. Like, one is the reaction which you get. The other thing is called a bij, is called a sinful tendency, which goes into your heart and it stays there. Have you ever seen a person who drinks like liquor, and in the morning he has a headache and vomit and things like that, and all sort of things, right? All those things happen. It's not a good experience in the morning, right? So that is the reaction you get. But then after 2-3 days, he gets again along with his friends, and then he feels like again drinking. Why is that? That is the sinful tendency. It's a bij which gets fructified in the right time. When in the right conditions, it gets fructified. Okay, so the tendency stays with us in our heart. And the tendency, and so whatever action we have done so far, all those bijas we are collecting all over the place. And these bijas go with us across lives. Okay, and that is why you see some people, they have never been exposed to these bad habits, but suddenly they got attracted to these things and they started taking up these things. Where is it coming from? Their parent didn't used to drink, and why are they doing it, right? Where is it coming from? So it's not about drinking only, but it's about all these. I mean, the bijas are of variety of types. For example, the lust, greed, anger, pride, envy, illusion. I mean, all these things, they actually are these anarthas. They are called in Sanskrit. Okay, and those are the things that we have collected in our heart, and because of which we are not happy. This is what the theory says. Because all of these, they just keep on hunting us. All these desires keep on hunting us. Okay, we feel envy, we feel anger, and all of that, and we are not happy. Now, when I say purification, I mean getting purified from these things. And when you don't have these things, the life is very peaceful. It's hard to explain how it will be, right?
No, I understand, but anger या जो भी emotions है, ये तो सारे भगवान जी के भी पास है. मतलब जो बड़े-बड़े दुर्वासा ऋषि was very famous, as you know.
Durvasa Rishi is not
for
God.
his
He's not
anger.
Bhagwan.
हाँ, he is not God, but वो भी तो काफी realized person ही थे ना, मतलब
We cannot
और
generalize.
फिर जैसे भगवान लोग को भी तो गुस्सा आता है, उन लोग को भी, उनके भी अंदर इतनी सारी
भगवान
Anger
लोग कोई
भावनाएं
नहीं
हैं.
है. Bhagwan
Though
is
he
one.
had anger, he attained the Brahma Gnan, right, sir?
Sorry?
So how is it possible? Though he is that angry, though he attained the Brahma Gnan.
Have you
So
ever?
how is it possible?
Yeah, it is not possible, and he didn't actually. Okay, so if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, if you read scriptures, you will realize that Durvasa Muni was a great yogi. I mean, he was a great Ashtanga yogi, of course. And with Ashtanga yogi, you get a lot of powers, mystic powers you get, and he got them also. Okay, but if you read about a story of Ambarish Maharaj, which comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, then the same Durvasa Rishi actually got into trouble, where he ran from Brahma to Vishnu to Shiva to all over the place to save his life. Okay, I don't want to get into those stories, but the point remains that and he got into this just because of his anger. And many stories are there in our scriptures where he got into trouble because of his anger. Okay, so his anger was not very helpful. You just think about it, right? I mean, let's talk real. Let's not talk scripture. In your life, how many times you felt that I should not have been angry, right? Because you regret it. Or a person is hated because he's
Every
angry,
day,
right? Yeah. Nobody
especially
loves a
जब अपने
person.
बच्चे पे अगर
Yeah.
yeah
Nobody loves a person. Now forget Brahma Gyan. You don't love yourself, right? And you don't love the person like the person who has these bad qualities. So emotions there, like see,
correct.
and when God you're talking about, if you're comparing it, so let's not talk about Durvasa Rishi or anybody. I mean, I'm just talking about one person called God, and God is only one person. There's no two persons.
Hmm.
Okay, there's only one God.
Okay.
And when God, of course, we get these things because God has them. Because nothing can exist in this world without God having them. But when God has them, they are in the pure form. As I told you, right, this world has reflected qualities available. I mean, what is love in the spiritual world becomes lust in this world. Okay, so essentially the qualities get perverted. They are like a image in the water, a reflection in the water, and that's how they look like. So they are not really pure in this world. So you don't get but the point is, like, we are not happy, right? So we need to get purified. When I say purification, I'm talking about that purification, and that is what matters to us, right? I mean, forget about these. You'll say, "Arey, these are all fancy stories. I don't care. Why should I worry? Why should I like trust?" Don't trust them. But are you happy? Can you find any other way to be happy? Let's talk real.
I am happy. I mean,
That's what you think.
So
I mean,
we will be happy if we don't have any emotions. I agree with this. But how can
No,
we
not
define?
emotions. I'm not talking. Yeah, I'm not talking you to become emotionless. Okay, I'm talking about, and these are not emotions. Okay, these are more than that. I mean, all our life we keep on running after something to achieve something in our life, right? But once you achieve that, you're still not satisfied. For example, you wanted to get an iPhone 10, or you got one, but then the iPhone 11 came, and you wanted that also,
I
right?
agree with
So you're running after, hankering after this or that, right? We are not satisfied in our life. We don't feel nourished about it, right? We don't even know what we are running after actually, but we are running after something in our life. We don't even know that. And I wanted to talk about that particular topic today. Like, what are we running after really, and what is it that is a source of satisfaction for us?
How can
Okay.
we define angry of a father towards his son so that to keep him in a right track? Of course, it is a negative energy, but
No
sometimes
problem in having it and any of these emotions. So see, do not think of anger as a bad thing. None of these are bad things if utilized in the right way. Okay, but if you lose it, you may end up killing your child also. There are cases like that which
तो
happen.
मतलब इमोशंस होना अच्छी बात है बेसिकली.
Of
इमोशंस होना ही
course,
चाहिए.
of course. I'm not saying you have to become emotionless. All I'm saying is that
It's just that you got to have control over your emotions,
no, it is
right?
not about
We must
emotion.
know.
It's not about emotions. It is about
Okay.
we are searching for happiness, right? All of us, but we are not able to find it. We are trying variety of things. Don't get stuck into anger. Think about that lust and greed and envy also, right? We're trying to be happy. It is not emotion only. Even if you forget about emotion, even if you're on the face, if somebody says how are you, you'll say I'm happy, I'm fine, you'll smile, all of that. In the inside your heart, are you really happy, right? Are you really satisfied, right? When you go to sleep, I mean, do you have anything? Or if somebody says what is your last wish, will you say that I don't have any last wish, right? I'm fully satisfied. Okay, it's not emotion. It is some
I
hankering that we have in our heart, and that is what I'm trying to define. What is that? That's what this slides, the current session is all about. Nothing else. Okay. All right. So let me just go ahead. So the point I'm saying is that, like, the students, they feel they get ruled by a principal. When I say ruled, of course, it doesn't mean, we all know, right? The principal doesn't rule them, but kind of they follow the rules of the school, right? Whatever it is, they do it, right? That you have to come on time, you have to sit in the desk, and this and that, right? And in return, they receive their education, degree, and training, right? So a plural subordinate, like plural students, they get nourished by serving a single supreme, right? Now, nourish and the serving, don't take serving as if you have to do some bad things, menial things. No, you don't have to. But just by following the rules of the game, right? Similarly, in the company, the employees, they serve the CEO, the plan of the CEO, right? Whatever, oh, we have to release this product, they will all go work for that, releasing the product. And in return, they get their salaries, perk, and facility. Similarly, all the citizens, they align by the laws that are made by the prime minister, say, right? And in return, they get their social facilities, they get their welfare and stuff like that, right? So they get sort of nourished by it. Okay. So similarly, all of us, all the souls, right? We talked about soul, and all the soul are like part and parcel of the God, right? And when they do it, when they get, they all get nourished, right? I mean, okay, just a moment, I'll just see that. Okay, all right. Sorry about this. So yeah, so these, so there is a scripture called Shvetashwar Upanishad. Okay, and Shvetashwar Upanishad has a verse. But the verse says, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Vidadhati Kaman. So what it means, I'll explain that. So basically, when they serve, all the souls who are part and parcel of the God, when they serve the God, they receive eternal happiness. Okay, they feel nourishment and happiness by doing the service or following the rules of the God. Right. So what this verse means, what I said in Shvetashwar Upanishad, it means that God is eternal and we are eternal. All of us are eternal, because souls, as we talked about, right, that the soul is eternal being, right? And similarly, God is also an eternal being. Okay. And it also says, so it means Nityo Nityanam, like the God is Nitya and we are Nitya. And the second part says Chetanas Chetananam. It means God is conscious and we are also conscious. Both of us are conscious beings. Okay. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. It says that, oh, God is one, Eko Bahunam, and we are many. Okay, so there is only one God as per this verse, and that says Vidadhati Kaman. You know, so all of them, all of these persons, all the many persons, they serve that one supreme. This is what it means. Okay, so it talks about soul and God, the relationship between soul and God. That all these souls they serve one God. This is what this verse says. Okay, so and only by serving that God can we be eternally happy. Like for example, if a son satisfies the desire of a father, right? Like he goes for studying, right? And if he fulfills that desire, he is happy, and you are happy. The father is happy, and that son also gets money by that, right? So now, what is God's plan, right? What are we supposed to follow? So look around you, right? I mean, around us there is sunlight, grains. So everything, like, you know, it's like, you know, so what God wants us is like, you know, okay, be healthy, but also understand, at the same time, understand his presence in this world and align with his laws. And what are those laws? We talked about them a bit last time, right? There are four principles of dharma, as it says, right? No meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no gambling, right? Now this is what Srimad Bhagavatam says are the four simple pillars of sins. In fact, the other way to remember it is called MATS. There's a formula called MATS formula. Okay, so MATS means, M means mercy. Okay, as per scripture, as per Srimad Bhagavatam, these are the words comes. Mercy means no meat eating. Okay, A is for austerity. Austerity means no intoxication. MAT, T is for truthfulness, and truthfulness means no gambling. And C means cleanliness, and cleanliness translates to no illicit sex. And then H is for holy name or Nam Jap. Okay, so these are the 5 principles of called MATCH, match principle, right? So just following that much, it's simple, and acting for God's pleasure, acting on his behalf, and that is good enough, right? Now you may say, Arey, why does God demand this, right? What is the reason for God to demand all of this? So God is demanding all of this just for our own welfare, okay? Because he loves us and he doesn't want us to suffer in this world. So these are some basic laws that have to be followed if you want to be happy in this world, right? And if there's a question like, oh, who's our father? I mean, like, you know, we talked about father and son, right? So actually Bhagavad Gita answers that question. I mean, there's this verse which comes in 14th chapter, and it says, सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्त्या सम्भवन्ति यः तेषां ब्रह्म महत् योनि aham bij pradapita. So aham bij pradapita, it means like, I am the seed giving father, I am the father of all these living entities which exist. Okay, and how many? Oh, there are 8.4 million. I mean, in fact, scriptures talk about what are those 8.4 million species and all of that. Like, Padma Puran says, has a verse which says this: Jalaja nav lakshani, sthavar laksha vimshati, krimiyo rudra sankhyaya, pakshinam dash lakshana. So it tells you exactly what or how many lakhs of species are there and things like that. Anyways, the bottom line remains the same, that okay, by serving the God, by aligning with his laws, you can actually be happy. Okay, I'll not get into this quiz, but the simple thing to understand is like, these are the two type of people which exist. One are demonic and the other one is divine. And demonic people are one who actually do not follow God's law. And divines are the one. I mean, this is a simple thing. I mean, like, we have heard about this devas and the Danavas, right? They are not like, people with two horns and big teeth and things like that. Like, it's simple. I mean, a person in Bhagavad Gita, it is explained what is demonic and who's divine. So a demonic person, they are like, only concerned about their own happiness. But a divine person, they actually follow God's law and they do some selfless service to others, right? I mean, a demonic person will say, oh, I am a self-made man, I have destroyed all my enemy, I have killed all my enemy, and things like that, But a divine person, he is like grateful to God for whatever he gets. Okay. Demonic persons are like, just do it types, eat, drink, and be merry. But a divine person, they know that, oh, what is right and what is wrong, and they're conscious about it, right? And demonic, for example, Duryodhana, demon is, for example, Yudhishthir, and things like that. There are so many demonic and divine people we know, but this is the simple way to understand the right and wrong. I mean, nothing, we have studied it from our childhood, we have been told about this, but this is essentially what it is. I mean, like, people, if you don't align with God's law, you get into trouble. Yes, Anukriti, tell me.
वैसे तो बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस है, बहुत सारे, बट एक क्वेश्चन है कि मैं एक गुरु माता जी हैं, मतलब वो वहाँ अहमदाबाद में रहती हैं, तो मैं क्योंकि गुजरात में रहती थी, अभी जस्ट यहाँ यूएई शिफ्ट हुई हूँ 6 महीने पहले, तो मैं अहमदाबाद में रहती थी, तो मैं किसी के थ्रू उनसे मिली थी, तो आई हर्ड अबाउट हर कि उनकी शादी हुई, उसके बाद शी हैज नो चाइल्ड बिकॉज वो इतना ज्यादा भक्ति में हो गई है, भगवान की सेवा, और उन्होंने अपनी लाइफ को जो है भगवान की सेवा के लिए अर्पण कर दिया, और वहां पे कोई मतलब वो है बहुत बड़े वो थे, संत थे जिन्होंने समाधि ले ली थी, उनका नाम मुझे याद नहीं है, वो उन्हीं की से मतलब उन्हीं की वो अनुयायी हैं, और वो हैं अभी बूढ़ी हो गई हैं, उनके कोई बच्चे नहीं है, उनके हस्बैंड उनके साथ बिल्कुल रूममेट या मतलब ऐसे रहते, बट दे हैव नो फिजिकल इंटीमेसी. But I don't understand this thing. I mean, ये क्या है? Like now you just said about illicit sex. Okay, illicit I understand. But इन सबका कोई scientific reason है या मतलब क्या है ये? I mean, reproduction कैसे होगा? If like लोग ऐसे मतलब
see, okay, good. Yeah, good. So let's stick to this question. ठीक है. So yeah, illicit is clear, right? So let's stick to illicit sex only.
Illicit okay. I know that's unnatural. तो चलो ठीक है, उसका तो I understand.
So I didn't said कि मतलब you should not get married, nobody should have this thing, and I never said that, and I'm not going to say it also.
You never said that, but वो माता जी जो गुरु माता जी हैं, मैंने उनका सुना कि वो उन्होंने भगवान मतलब वो शिव जी के मंदिर में जाती हैं, या हाँ शिव उनका श्रृंगार करती हैं रात भर, फिर मतलब रात में जग के वो लोग मंदिर में श्रृंगार करते हैं, वो काफी सालों से उन्होंने अपना जीवन उसमें ही लगा दिया. बट मतलब ये क्वेश्चन ऑब्वियसली मैं उनसे पूछ नहीं पाई, क्योंकि मुझे जो भैया ले गए थे उनके थ्रू मैं जान रही थी, तो भाभी ने बताया कि ऐसा, बट मतलब ये क्यों है? लाइक आई एम स्टिल वंडरिंग कि गुरु माता ने क्यों ऐसा वो किया होगा, ऐसा डिसीजन लिया होगा कि उन्होंने अपने बच्चे नहीं पैदा किए, उन्होंने अपनी फैमिली आगे नहीं बढ़ाई, ऐसा क्या हुआ होगा उनको?
I cannot talk about on her behalf, by the way. But I can tell you what scriptures say, right? I can tell you what is the Vedic way of doing things. Vedic way of doing things is that that of course, I mean, like in the Vedic times, in the times when really we had the right civilization, people, of course, used to have kids. Otherwise, we would not have been here, right, to talk about it,
Correct,
right?
correct,
But at the same
correct.
time, they were also clear about what is the purpose of all of this. The purpose is not for for recreation. They were clear about it. Okay.
Then purpose is liberation.
No, the purpose of sex is not for recreation, as you brought up that topic, right? People think that, oh, I want to be happy, so I will do all sort of things, right? They were clear that no, this is not the purpose. The purpose is to get children. Yes, of course. I mean, there's no problem in getting children. Nobody is saying that you should not have children or anybody should not have children. Right?
Reproduction.
People used to get married, people used to have children, people used to have happy life at that time, right? And that's not, I mean, I'm not saying that this is what it is. The only thing I have been saying, and like that's why I'm saying, forget about whatever you have heard. Let's talk about real spirituality. The real spirituality is about being responsible for your actions, as this slide says, right? That's what it is. Being conscious about God, always keeping God in the center, being grateful to God whatever you're getting, right? And following God's law. I mean, not doing things whimsically, right? Okay, tonight I will go high, I will have, like, you know, all sort of things, I'll go party and XYZ. Of course, you're not going to be happy, trust me, right? This is not going to make you happy. That's the bottom line. Okay, trying all sort of things, and everybody has done that. Most of the people have tried that. They were never happy because of that, right? So that is the whole point. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody has to become a sadhu baba. Okay, people, not all the people in the past used to be sadhu baba. Some used to be, of course, but at the same time, there are people who were like married people, okay, living normal life, but they also used to be happy. This person, Yudhishthir, was not a sadhu baba, right? For example, okay, he had wives and he had kids and all sort of things, but he was in the right path. They used to keep God in the center and used to also follow his laws and things like that, right? That is the way to move forward in the right path. That is the right path. Okay, and then it's a simple way to be happy also. So only thing I'm saying is
तो
that
ऐसा कुछ है क्या स्क्रिप्चर्स में कहीं लिखा है क्या कि अगर आप अपना जीवन आप भगवान को अर्पित कर देते, आप मतलब उनकी सेवा में आपने ये एक संकल्प कर ले कि मैं उनकी सेवा करूंगी, भगवान का श्रृंगार करूंगी या जो भी, तो लाइक आई विल नॉट हैव किड्स और समथिंग, आई विल नॉट मेक माय फैमिली, ऐसा कुछ है क्या स्क्रिप्चर्स में कहीं?
That is why I'm saying कि मतलब, see, there are too many type of things which exist. If you really want to get the authentic knowledge, then the right way to get it is from a proper sampradaya, a proper school of thought, right? I mean, in fact, I can tell you this much: if you or anyone ever tell me that I want to be like, like that, I will really tell you that no, sorry, I don't know you. I mean, like, never quote that you have ever been connected to me. You want to do something like that, then go ahead, do whatever you want to. But I will definitely not be in an encouraging tone at all, for sure. I can tell you. Okay. As for me, I have 2 kids. I have a big house. I'm like, like things like that. I live a normal life. Okay. So it's not about that. That is not what it is all about. That's not at all.
मतलब अपने गृहस्थ जीवन में रह के आप अपने बाकी सारे रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज को फुलफिल करते हुए भी, लेकिन आपके सेंटर, लाइक आप सब कुछ करिए, वो सेकेंडरी होना चाहिए, पर मेन आपके मतलब ये होना चाहिए कि आप भगवान को याद रखिए, उनको ग्रेटफुल रहिए, आप उनकी पूजा करिए, उनको मतलब
exactly there are 2 duties that we have in this world, and Krishna explains them in 2nd chapter towards the end, in the middle part of it. Okay, and they are called our horizontal duties and vertical duties. We have some horizontal duties toward our family, things like that. We have some vertical duty towards God, right? And it is about balancing both of them. Okay, so that we get elevated in both of these duties at the same time, right? And the way
और अगर कोई दोनों ड्यूटी करते हुए कोई मतलब न्याय ना कर पाए, तो मतलब एज एन बैलेंस ना कर पाए,
it is a
मतलब भगवान में इतना रम जाए कि फिर मतलब परिवार को उतना वो ना कर पाए, या
then you are not under a proper guidance. This is called Vaidhi Bhakti. It's a something which has to be done in a vidhi, in a proper way. Okay, under the guidance of a guru, and that's why you need a guru. Okay, and then basically under that guidance, you should be practicing it and trying to balance both of them. and it is possible to do it and get
Mhm.
elevated in both of them. I mean, you can really, I can promise you, both material and spiritual, you can get elevated in both of them and at the same time feel happy about it, feel accomplished about them, okay, and not feel frustrated. So it is possible if it
नहीं,
is
I'm
done
not
right.
frustrated, but आई वाज जस्ट वंडरिंग क्योंकि जब ऐसी बातें सुनो तो फिर बाकी लोग की भी बातें याद आती हैं तो जैसे
That
एक
is what I'm
देयर इज
saying.
अ
Like, see, I can tell you
पर्सन
this
आई
one
नो.
thing. If they have not heard properly, if they have not following a proper guru, then all these things can happen, right? I'm not justifying them, neither I'm condemning them, right? They have chosen a path. I cannot speak on their behalf, but all I can say
नो
is
ऑफ
that
कोर्स नॉट.
what is the right thing, what as per scriptures what I have learned is what I'm passing on, and that is like we have to balance both of them and get elevated in both. It's possible to do it. Leave, as I said, like in the beginning, what a promise I made was like, live a life like that you love, right? And live life powerfully. I mean, really be happy about things, not. Yeah, go
Now,
ahead.
one more thing I want to share it with you. Now, I know somebody, she's my relative. तो सबसे पहले उनका ही आध्यात्म की तरफ इतना रुझान हुआ था because she felt something. तो अभी तो वो ISKCON भी शायद उन्होंने join किया हुआ है. And she's too much into it, like too much. मतलब too much मतलब उनके हिसाब से वो too much नहीं होगा, उनके हिसाब से वो enough होगा. But नॉर्मली मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इतना मतलब नॉर्मली मतलब इसमें रह के गृहस्थ जीवन में कर पाना थोड़ा मुश्किल है पर शी इज डूइंग एंड शी इज डूइंग क्वाइट वेल. तो उन्होंने मुझे बोला कि व्हेन शी रियलाइज्ड इट कि उनको मतलब पता करना है कि क्यों ये जीवन है, क्यों हम पैदा हुए हैं, लाइक ये जो सवाल आए सारे. एंड व्हेन शी हैड दैट एक्सपीरियंस, तो जब वो विपासना एंड ऑल भी उन्होंने ज्वाइन किया था तो एक बार उन्होंने कहा कि मुझे ऐसा लगा कि मैं अपना बच्चा परिवार सब छोड़ के चली जाऊं क्योंकि ये सब बस मतलब मोह माया है या फिर ये सब मतलब मतलब मुझे उनको डिटैचमेंट फील हुआ.
That is why I'm
तो
saying कि मतलब all these things have to be practiced under the proper guidance. If it is not practiced under proper guidance, you get into trouble. Okay. But Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, in the beginning, he says that, renunciation or detachment, when you are not ready for it, okay, is not the right path. It is not at all a right path. You should not be taking that up.
ऑफ कोर्स अब छोटा बच्चा है किसी का और उससे डिटैच फील करना इज नॉट राइट. नो.
Yeah, correct. No, it's not about that also. Like, you just think that, oh, I'll run away from my house and things like that. And you do that, but your desires, the same kind of impurities that you have, they will go with you. Right. And you, even there, you will be taking ganja, chilam, this, that, whatever, right? All those things you will be smoking and stuff like that. No point running away and doing all that. Right. So it's better that you stay in this
Right.
world, get purified, right, and go in the right path. And that is the right way of progressing. So if it is done in a proper guidance, this whole thing makes sense. Otherwise, it is not a whimsical idea. It is not like, just some emotional game or something. Or today you feel like, no, I'll just leave everything. I'll run away from my house. No, it's not like that. You're not supposed to do it. That's what I said. Like if you,
You know
if
that.
any, yeah,
No,
if you ever tell me
what you're
this, then
saying is
I'm just telling you.
absolutely right. No. What you're saying is absolutely right because you know what? I watch videos of Sadhguru and one Sadhguru also said, the mystic guru, Isha Foundation वाले जो Sadhguru हैं. तो once he also said कि भगवान भी उनको मिलते हैं जो बहुत ignorant और simple होते हैं, जो simply उनकी like पूजा किए जा रहे हैं, जिनको कुछ मतलब जो ज्यादा लॉजिक, ज्यादा रीजनिंग, ज्यादा दिमाग नहीं लगाते, उनको बोल दिया कि हाँ भगवान इनकी पूजा करो और वो बिल्कुल उनकी पूजा किए जा रहे हैं. एक तरीके से आप अंधभक्ति भी कह सकते हैं. तो मतलब अगर वो बिल्कुल मतलब उनको बोल दे कि आप भगवान की पूजा करो, भगवान को याद करो और वो किए जा रहे, तो जो सिंपल लोग होते हैं जो ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड या कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं होते उनको ही उनकी भगवान सुनते हैं, उनको मिलते हैं. तो
I don't,
इज इट रिलेटेड टू
scriptures don't
दैट?
agree with it. No, scriptures don't agree with
ओके.
it. Okay. As
ओके.
per scriptures, basically, without knowledge, it is difficult to have a firm faith. And it's a simple common sense, right? Just discussing with Srivaliji, like just in the beginning of the session, like when you are actually angry or when you are actually tired, had a fight with someone, right? Do you get time to think about God, right? Or when you are distressed, stuff like that, right? We don't get to think about it. It's only possible if this knowledge is there with you. Okay, if this knowledge, this understanding is actually which keeps us steady, and the game is about steadiness. This whole game is about
Mm.
steadiness. Like we do EMI, every month we put some money for our future. This is about that, right? Being steady every day. Like we have decided we will do some Nam Japa, 1 round chanting, we will do, or we do it every day. Whether it's cold or whether it's hot, whether it's a day when I had a lot of work to do, or I'm very happy, I'm very sad, whatever it is, just be steady. That's what it is. It is not at all about that, oh, one day I will do too much, one day I will do too less, one day I will run away from my house. No, just be steady in what your practice. That's all what it is. Okay. And that small practice will actually gradually elevate you. And elevate you doesn't mean that you will become a sadhu. It just means that you will be in this world, but at the same time, you will actually have the consciousness of a person who is a sannyasi. Okay. Of that level of understanding you will have, and you'll be able to practice it properly. So knowledge is required. Simple heart, of course, but see, all those things, it's not repeatable. Some person by luck may have a simple heart and may get like that. What about people like us who have a crooked heart, right? Can they not achieve God? They can achieve it in a methodical way, and that's the methodical way that I'm talking about. By Nam Japa, by understanding the scriptures, by doing it in a guidance, you actually gradually get purified, and you actually get a heart which is really pure, and then you'll be able to see God. Okay. So, and that this is a repeatable way of achieving success. And instead of like, oh, if I had a simple heart, but you don't have a simple heart, what do I do? Okay, look, I'll not be able to get God. Then, no, it's not like that, right? It's a repeatable way for everyone. That's why I'm saying everybody can experience it. Even if you are in whichever state, doesn't matter. Okay. So we go ahead. All right. So the question is, I think Himalji was asking this question, right? Is it Dvait or Advait, right? So is God a impersonal light energy, or is God a person, right? These are the two philosophies. Philosophers have been talking about this topic for eons. There are so many of them, like Shuddha Dvait, Vishishta Dvait, Dvaita Dvait, and so many of them, right? So essentially, or is he a person, right? That's what we talk about. So think about this company, like a big company called Microsoft. Slides are old, but whatever. Essentially, it has operation all over the world, right? But behind all of that, there is a person, not this person anymore, but a person nonetheless, right? Who actually runs and manages this company, right? So a person is required for doing this. Okay. This country, a big country like India, right? It's governed by elected party, but ultimately there's a person who's heading it, right? So the way it works, I mean, like, think about it, right? And we don't ask this question, oh, this gigantic universe, this entire creation, such a perfect organization, so much in control, who's the person? There has to be a person. See, if actually, even if somebody throws a stone in your window, right, and you hear that sound, what is the first question you ask? You don't say that, oh, by some energy, this stone got some energy, and because of which it came and hit my window, right? Of course, stone got some energy, but there has to be an energetic behind every energy, right? That question should be asked. The question, and naturally we ask that question, who's that guy, who's that person who threw this stone, right? We don't ask like who, from where this energy came and all that, right? We don't make it so complicated, because there has to be a person behind anything. We have seen, like, use your common sense around you. Nothing happens with a light or a sound, right? And here we are talking about that, oh, everything is being run by a light or a sound or something like that. No, there is a person. I mean, I'm just putting it in a very, very simple word, but if you want to go complicated, we can go so complicated in this topic that it will hurt. But bottom line essentially remains the same, that behind every Shakti there is a Shaktiman. Okay. It says Parasya Shakti Vividheva Shruyate. Like, that every Shakti has a Shaktiman behind it. So God is that energetic, and it is not the energy. So God is a person, right? Any thoughts, question, arguments around this topic? Because I don't want to get into things which are not required here. But these are the two.
आपने ये क्यों कहा कि अगर मैं ज्यादा डीप में जाऊंगा तो थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाएगा? मतलब डीप में ऐसा क्या है?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Answer, we'll get the same answer. Okay, the answer which I'm telling you is what you get. But essentially, this topic has been debated by various great personalities for so many years. Okay, and so many complicated logic has been given that there will be like lot of complicated discussion which will happen. Okay, which is beyond, this is not required. Okay, the answer will come out to be the same. Okay, as I mentioned, like Srimad Bhagavatam says that there's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, a very famous one. It says, "Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam agyana avyayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdate." It says that the supreme truth can be realized through three ways. One is called Brahman, the other one is called Paramatma, and the third one is called Bhagwan. Okay, the Brahman is that light. Okay, and then Paramatma is the somebody in the heart, in everybody's heart. And then there is a person, Bhagwan, which is that person, okay, which we have been talking about since some time, right? Now, Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita, he says that Brahmano hi pratishtaham, like, that I am the basis of that Brahman, that light that exists, the light is coming from me, okay? So I am that, that person from which this light is coming from. I am that energetic from where this energy is coming from. And that Paramatma, Krishna explains it also, that, I actually, with my opulence, I actually go in, sit in everybody's heart. So it is ultimately that energetic who's actually from whose this all the energy is coming from, right? So so that is the whole point. Okay, and we can talk about 50 more verses and discuss them, but the point remains the same, that the God is a person. Okay, does it make sense? So much. As I said, I can talk about 50 more verses for no reason, but essentially the conclusion will be the same. Okay, so
When you say God is a person, means you just want to say that God is an entity, an existing entity, right? आप
God is
ये
a
कहना
person.
चाहते हैं?
नहीं, मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि God is a person like you and me,
Person means
like us.
मतलब human being, not
No,
human.
no. So see, human means what? Human means a spirit, soul, as we discussed, and a material body.
Ah,
Okay,
right.
right? And the spirit
That
soul
ways,
is a
yes.
very tiny spirit soul. It's a very, very tiny spirit soul. Now, God is also a spirit, but he's very, very vast than us. Okay, like a drop of water and an ocean. Okay, that is the level of difference in the spirit. So we, as a drop, have similar qualities like God,
Mm-hmm.
but the quantity is very, very less. Okay, but he's a person. He's not a faceless entity. He's not a light. He has
आई
emotion.
रिमेम्बर जब फर्स्ट सेशन हो रहा था तो आपने कहा था कि हमारे अंदर भी वो कैपेबिलिटी होती है हमारी भी सोल में कि लाइक अगर जैसे इतना छोटा माइन्यूट सा है तो वो भी उतना बड़ा बन सकता है
नहीं, बड़ा
पर
नहीं बन
कोई
सकता.
सोल नहीं बन सकता
नहीं.
तो फिर
It
क्या
has the
होगा
same.
सोल का ऐसे ही मतलब ऊपर नीचे होता रहेगा
नहीं,
सोल मतलब कभी इस तल कभी उस तल
no, नहीं, ऐसा नहीं. देखिए,
नहीं
soul actually is stuck. I mean, I think we talked about that story, right? That okay, soul used to live in spiritual world, and they used to serve the God,
हम्म,
love the God.
हम्म,
Okay. At one point, some of the soul they came down to this material world because they wanted to enjoy separately, independently from God, and then
हम्म,
they got stuck here because of karma. They are getting births again and again, right? And once they get liberated, once they get free from this world, they will go back to their home, which is that spiritual world, where they will again be happy serving the God. It's the simple word of scriptures. There's no other thing here. Okay. So God is a person, we are a person, and I'll explain more. So essentially, this is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. So he says, I am the source of all spiritual and material world. Okay. So he says, like, I am that energetic from which all this energy is coming from. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Okay. So it says that he is the person who's actually behind all of it, right? And he talks about his spiritual world also. He says, "Natad bhasayate suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartante, tadhama paramam mama." He says, like, that my spiritual world doesn't require any light. it doesn't have any sun, moon, or fire or electricity. Okay, a person who reaches there will never come back. Okay, why? Oh, because that you're back, you're home, right? You've already experienced all of this pain that you had to, but now you're back. So this is what he says. So yeah, so essentially, just to put it, and as I was speaking, right, like think about Arjun. I mean, like us, Arjun was also stressed. I mean, he had so many problems in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, if you know or not, like because he was not able to fight because he was supposed to fight with his uncle and teachers and things like that, right? So his mouth was driving up, his bow was falling from his hand, he was not able to stand properly, his mind was reeling, all sort of things, right? And then
नरेंद्र जी,
yeah, tell me.
सॉरी मुझसे कंट्रोल नहीं हो पाया. सो यू सेड कि हमारा सोल यहाँ आया, हम ऑब्वियसली वो आप कई बार
Can I
बता चुके हैं,
complete
हमको
this one?
वापस
Can
जाना.
we complete this one and then we talk about it? Let me just
Okay,
complete
ठीक
this part. Halfway, then
Okay,
we'll lose
okay.
that. So all I was saying
Okay,
is that
okay.
yeah, thank you. So basically, Arjun was distressed, right? And then when he prayed to Krishna, and Krishna gives him that knowledge, right? And with that knowledge, Krishna said that, see, surrender to me only. Okay. And then by doing that, Arjuna's troubles went away. Okay. And this is what Bhagavad Gita says. Like, a person like Arjuna, wherever he is, a person who's actually, and see, Arjuna didn't become a sadhu after hearing Bhagavad Gita, right? He actually became more firm on doing his duty. And that is what it happens. That is the end result of learning spirituality, that we become better at doing our duty and not become renounced. We become renounced from inside, but not from outside. Okay. And then, so what the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, this is the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, which says that, oh, wherever there is Krishna, who's the master of all the mystics, like, God himself, and wherever there is Arjuna, who is the supreme archer, right, there will be always opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. And this is what we are supposed to get if you actually follow spirituality, right? So yeah, and think about it, right? Pandavas were 5 and Kauravas were 100, but Pandavas won the battle because the father of the dharma, right? The Krishna himself was there with them. Okay. Yeah. All right. So go ahead.
हाँ, तो नरेंद्र जी, हम लोग तो सब भगवान जहाँ पे हैं उनको सर्व करते थे, वहां से यहाँ आए. भगवान जी कहाँ से आए? मतलब वो जो आप जिसको कह रहे हैं इज अ पर्सन, एक स्पिरिट है पर बहुत बड़ा है, हम लोग बहुत माइन्यूट हैं, तो वो कहाँ से आए?
Yeah. So see, some things are difficult to comprehend, right? If I tell you that variety of things, right, in science also, they are difficult to comprehend and understand, right? If I tell you that, see, and this is what scriptures say, that we are eternal. Okay, we didn't came from anywhere. We are eternal. We were always there.
So we were always there. Okay.
Always there.
So
And
God was
is
always there.
Yes. And in the spiritual world, if I tell you that there is no time, and that is why whatever it is, if you are young forever. If you are happy forever. That is how spiritual world is. Okay, it is not about one day kabhi khushi kabhi gum. It is not like that. Right. So it is eternal. That place is eternal. Okay. Let me explain a bit more.
तो उनका पर्पस ये है कि वो हमारी टेक केयर करते रहेंगे और हम उनको सर्व करते रहे वहाँ स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में.
See, I will explain. Just hear this set of slides and you'll understand all of it. Just hear that till the end,
Okay.
and a lot of questions will get answered. Okay. So, what is the dharma of the soul? Like, why we say that? What you said, right? We'll keep on serving him and this and that. No. Let's understand something here. Okay. So, for example, everybody, actually, all of us, just look around you. We all render service to someone, and the service is not a bad thing. Like, for example, there's a waiter who's serving the clients, a teacher who's serving the students, a mother who's serving the child, right? Or even the animals do that, right? Or a doctor is serving the patient, or if nobody else, we serve the cat and dog, right? And we all do some service to somebody or the other. in this world around us, all of us, and we really love it, right? Doing that service, the mother really love doing that service to the child, right? And but service is good. Unfortunately, all this service actually ends by death, right? They all get ended by death of the person, right? Of our near and dear ones, even though we like serving them, but that's what happens, right? But also there is one more thing which is common, and that common thing is that all of us like to love someone, right? Just look at this, right? We all love someone, and we really like doing that, right? So this love and service, both of them, we love doing. Unfortunately, these things are temporary in this world, right? We are not able to love them eternally, nor we are able to serve them eternally, although we all like to do that, right? But that is the normal tendency of all the soul. Okay, we are talking about the tendency of the soul here, right? And the tendency of the soul is to love and serve. It is normal, natural. Why we do it as persons? Because this is the natural tendency of the soul. All of us really want to love and serve. It is not possible otherwise for us to be happy. The happiness doesn't come from gadgets or from intoxication or things like that. That happiness comes from love and serve. Okay, by relationships, by interaction between them, right? By serving someone, loving someone. That is the source of happiness. Think about it, like last time when you were happy, right? These things, like, your child made a small greeting card for you and gave it to you, and you felt really happy about it, right? That's how we get happiness, right? I mean, so that is a tendency of our soul. This is natural for us. There's nothing abnormal here, right? Now the problem is that
पर यहाँ पे अर्थ पे जो भी सर्विस हम रेंडर करते हैं, सबका एक पर्पस नहीं है, सबका एक पर्पस है ना यहाँ पे तो.
That is why I said ki love become lust, right? And this is the service that we do here. The love that we do is actually for a reason, okay? And that is why we don't get satisfaction because of it. Because here things are not eternal. They have 2-3 problems. Like, one is that they are not eternal. The other is that they're not able to give us enough reciprocation. You made food for your husband, which you thought is like really good, but the husband will say, oh, it's just okay, right? And you'll not feel very happy about it, right? So we don't get enough reciprocation for what we did, okay? And but the spiritual world is different that way, okay? There you get proper reciprocation for whatever was done, okay? Like, you feel satisfied. Complete satisfaction cannot come from anybody else apart from God.
तो reciprocation को expect करना, is it normal? Like should we expect same level of reciprocation?
But we do, right? You're not happy because of that.
We do, but मतलब ऐसे spiritual उसमें ऐसा है, मतलब करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए? मतलब अब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मैं अपने बच्चे को भी बड़ा कर रही हूँ, पाल रही हूँ. नहीं, मैं स्पिरिचुअल उसके हिसाब से पूछ रही हूँ, आध्यात्म के हिसाब से, कि अगर मतलब एक जैसे मान लीजिए मैं अपने बच्चे को अभी पाल रही हूँ, मैं उसको बड़ा कर रही हूँ, मैं पूरी अपना पूरा समय दे रही हूँ, तो वो तो मैं खैर सेल्फ सेटिस्फेक्शन के लिए दे रही हूँ, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली आई लव डूइंग फॉर दैट, आई लव डूइंग थिंग्स फॉर माय चाइल्ड,
सर्विंग, या यू लव एंड सर्विस.
पर जब बच्चे बड़े हो जाते हैं और पेरेंट्स बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपेक्टेशंस पाल लेते हैं कि मैंने पूरी जिंदगी लगा दी, मैंने इतना किया, अब तुम लोग की बारी है, तुम लोग करो, तो आई थिंक वहां पे वो लस्ट हो जाता होगा ना, मतलब दैट लव बिकम्स लस्ट, राइट?
Whatever we do even now is actually a lot of it is because of lust. We want our child to study because people will around us, otherwise they will say ki your child didn't get good marks, right? And things like that. A lot of it that we do right now also is because of expectation that we have. There is no pure love. There is very small.
और अगर कोई ये चाहता है कि मेरा बच्चा सिर्फ इसलिए पढ़े ताकि उसकी लाइफ इजी हो आगे चल के, कोई ये नहीं, उसको किसी को इसकी परवाह ही नहीं है कि कोई क्या कहता है.
हाँ भी ठीक है, whatever you want you can think about it, but the point is, what is the reality? What do people really do? Why do they do it? Right? I mean, the ideal world can exist. It's a complex topic. I can discuss this particular topic a lot, but we'll deviate from the main topic. Let's finish this in next 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
नहीं, तो मेन टॉपिक यही, मतलब मेरा कहने का मतलब है कि अगर स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में वहां पे मतलब लव और सर्विस विदाउट एनी पर्पस है कि पर्पस है वहाँ पे, या यहाँ पे ही सिर्फ
without any expectation. That's how it is.
यानी कि वहां पे कोई सेम लेवल ऑफ रेसिप्रोकेशन का एक्सपेक्टेशन
नहीं,
नहीं है.
but you get satisfied because of the reciprocation. You get satisfaction because you get reciprocation enough. Okay, right now we are in a situation where it is like, we are in a desert and we got a drop of water. Okay, and you don't feel satisfied, so you're looking for more. But if you really get a river and you are able to you're fully satisfied, there won't be any expectation of more water, right? Things of it like that.
तो मतलब यहाँ पे अर्थ पे रहते हुए भी अगर कोई बहुत ज्यादा तो नहीं, अगर 50-60% भी अपने आप को इस लेवल पे लाता है कि वो एक्सपेक्टेशंस, रेसिप्रोकेशन की जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस है उनको अगर वो कम कर सके 50-60%, तो वो खुश रह लेगा. क्या हम ये कह सकते हैं?
नहीं, that's a different topic altogether. Basically, all I'm saying
वो
is
फिलोसफी हो गई.
no, all I'm saying is that see, you get satisfaction by actually posing your love and service in the right direction. Right now, we are actually pointing it to the wrong direction, and that is why that satisfaction doesn't come. That is the only point I'm making. Right? Expectation for that, that's a separate topic. We can discuss it after this. Let me finish these things and then we can discuss it if you want.
Okay.
But that's a separate topic, different topic altogether. But okay, so essentially, our love and service, where do we pose it is not very clear to people. Okay, so one thing, dharma, the word of dharma, it means the nature. Okay, like for example, the nature of sugar is to be sweet. Right, it's a natural thing for the sugar. The nature of salt is to be salty. Right, there's no salt if it is not salty. It's a nature, right? The nature of rock is to be hard, or the nature of fire is to burn, right? The nature of ice is to be cold, or the water is to be liquid, right? That's the normal nature. And similarly, the nature of soul, there's a nature of soul is to serve with unconditional love. Okay, this is the nature. This is normal thing which actually give us happiness. Just that we don't know where to pose that thing. Now, God is eternal, as I said, and soul is eternal. And their relationship between these two is also eternal. As I said, Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidhati Kaman. So they're both of them are eternal and their relationship is also eternal. And that eternal love and service between both of them. So it's not just we love and serve God, but God love and serve us also. Okay, that reciprocation between both of them, this is called Sanatan Dharma. Dharma, as I said, means nature, and Sanatan means eternal. So that eternal nature of both is to serve each other, and they both feel happy about it. And that is the reality of.
इसीलिए जब हम बहुत ज्यादा भक्ति में होते हैं और भगवान को बहुत याद करते हैं, हम एकदम एक्सटेसी में चले जाते हैं, एक अलग ही दुनिया में चले जाते हैं ना.
नहीं, all that is not. That is all theory. Okay, that is not. Bhakti is not about.
No, but I have felt it. I mean, अगर मैं पूजा पाठ.
Those are emotions. Emotions. Bhakti is not emotions.
Okay.
Bhakti is about, see, if I actually love someone, like my child, and I keep on saying I love you, right? That is not going to feed my child, right? He may die because of hunger. I keep on repeating I love you. It is about serving. Okay, it is about really making something for the child and giving it to him. Okay, right?
Oh,
not just getting into ecstasy of I love you. That is not going to, right?
Yes.
That's not going to help anyone.
No,
it's just our emotions that are coming out and we feel, oh, we are in different world. This is not what spirituality is, right? So as I said, right, that unconditional loving service is what is the eternal dharma of the soul, and that is the Sanatana Dharma. Right now, what has happened is that because of amnesia, like people forget their parents and relatives. We talked about a story, right? In the movie, like sometimes a hero comes and there is a fighting, and hero forgets loses his memory, right? And then what do they do is their friends and relatives, they sing a song, they take him to the same place where basically the same kind of food, the same gajar ka halwa, they will feed him, they will take him to the similar places, similar things, so that he remembers it. And that is what bhakti is all about. Bhakti is that process to take away that amnesia. Okay, so that we realize our eternal position with God. We are able to establish that position. Okay, that is bhakti. So yeah, as I said, we have forgotten our love and service, and what we are doing instead is that we actually put our love and service into the wrong direction. There's nothing wrong in this, but we don't feel satisfied. For example, some people are centeredness. For them, everything is their husband or wife, right? That's what the life is, right? For some people, it's about family centeredness, right? You're going out with your relatives, this, that is your life, right? Or some people, the money centeredness, right? Nothing else. Some people are work centered, like, they from Bhagavad Gita, they just know one word called karmanye vadikaraste, like, just keep on doing work. That's what they think. There's nothing else in the life, right? They'll keep on doing day and night. Or possession centeredness, new car, new phone, watches, this, that. Pleasure centeredness, right? They live for eating, for parties and things. And if nothing, pet centeredness, right? Or friend or enemy centeredness. These people are interesting. Like for them, that enemy, just thinking about that enemy is like, their life, right? So we have just reposed it in the wrong direction, and with that we think that we'll get satisfaction, but that satisfaction never comes out. Okay, it is just about putting our natural tendency of love and service in the right direction. Okay, and that can make us happy. It's just about that much, nothing else, right? It's a nice poem. I'm not good at recitation, but let me try to do that, and it will answer a lot of questions. Okay, so the poem goes like this: I am a tiny jiva, not the ultimate god, but a tiny part and parcel and servant of the Lord. Um, Leaving Lord's company, forced to be born in pain, in the world filled with agony, again and again. Krishna is my Lord, the source of all existence. His form is imperishable, full of six opulences. We talked about that six opulence. If some of you missed it, you can hear it in the recording. Or yeah, he pays a visit to this world out of his own sweet will to please and protect his devotees and perish the evil. I am only Brahman, but Krishna is Parabrahman. My power is limited, his potencies are unlimited. So basically, soul is also Brahman. I mean, because as I said, the soul has same qualities as God, but in a very minute quantity. But Krishna, God, is Parabrahman. He has, like, those things in the unlimited quantity, right? Yeah, I can make a swimming pool. God creates ocean. I can fly a rocket, but Lord floats huge planets. I can invent a dome light, but God creates moonlight. We make ordinary dolls, but the God makes us all. Lord is the actual doer. I am just an imitator. Lord is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Okay, if you want to understand these three words, I can explain, but otherwise, just to understand is like, he's everywhere. He has all powers and he knows everything. This is basically what it means. Who deserves everyone's love and humble service? I am a tiny jiva cast in oceanic material world. Lord is the greatest of all. Let us accept this fact at heart. We are his tiny servants. Let's realize and serve him with joy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so this was the poem. I don't know if it made sense, or was it? It didn't. But yeah, okay. So we are done. Essentially, 5 minutes late. In summary slide, anyways, I always send. So questions, if anybody has anything. Vimalji, you're hearing it for the first time, so you might be having some what the hell is going on here types. But anybody else or whoever wants to ask questions.
तो आप थोड़ा इस पे लाइट थ्रो करिए कि मतलब ये कहना कि आई लव यू भगवान जी इज नॉट दैट इज जस्ट इमोशन बट वी हैव टू रेंडर सर्विस. तो कैसे रेंडर करें, मतलब कैसे हर काम में, मतलब एक गृह जीवन में होते हुए भी और हर एक काम करने से पहले कैसे, मतलब हर चीज में भगवान को हम कैसे याद करें या उनको हम सेंटर में कैसे रखेंगे?
Yeah, to begin with, we need to first understand what is God and who are we and things like that, right? And that is what we are discussing, and that is the beginning, right? Even before that, right? Before even doing service, we need to understand all of this, right? And this is not all, but basically it starts from there. And then, as I said, we have to get a bit purified also, because right now we are so much stuck into our thing that we are totally in an impure state. We are not able to even focus our mind on anything, right? Forget about being able to serve God. We are not able to serve ourselves also. I mean, if you just have to do some small work, you'll 50 times your mind will wander here and there, and you're not able to do it effectively. And that's why I said Nam Jap is something which helps, right, to purify ourselves. So that it's a simple process. It's just chanting, right? I don't know how many of you started chanting, but essentially it's all about, like, just keeping a bead, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we do it, and so that we get a bit purified, right? And also, and actually we discussed, right, there are basic 4 principles: association of devotees, right, that what we are doing right now, and then books, scriptures we should read, Bhagavad Gita if possible, right, to begin with, and to end with also if required, and then chanting of the names, right? And then the next one is about, we should offer some bhoga to God, right? Keep a small picture of Krishna or large picture of Krishna and offer a bhoga, ideally whatever we eat, but if not ideally, at least something, right? And have prasad, right? And the last thing is about some engagement, but that is slightly advanced, and we'll get to it later. But the point is, even these 3-4 simple things can actually gradually elevate us in the normal married life. We don't need to do anything extra. Okay, it takes it is so powerful, you'll be surprised. I mean, after a few years, when you turn back, you'll not be able to recognize what have I achieved. I have not done enough, like, some small things I've been following, and how come I got so elevated types. Okay, don't need to do a lot. It's not about you have to become Sadhu Baba. I mean, if you ever, or anybody ever tells me that, I will say sorry boss, like, I don't come to me and ever claim that you have ever heard anything from me.
नहीं, of course not.
Yeah.
मतलब आप
That's
भी
it.
तो अपने गृह जीवन में रहते हुए भी रहते हुए ही कर रहे, तो obviously why would you promote such thing?
Because that's not the right thing to do. Premature renunciation is dangerous. Okay, it can only bring a fall down to you, both in material and spiritual life, in both of them. Okay, yes, Srivali ji, you have a question?
Actually, when we are living our life, we set some expectations, or we are set by the society to some expectations. And we expect our things to be surrounding us to be in such a way that they must be in a well-disciplined order. Sometimes, due to the people of different natures, it was not followed. So, of course, suppose for example, if we take our kids as an example, we expect to have a good, well discipline, or to keep themselves in an order. Of course, it might be a small thing, but they keep themselves in an order. But all the time, kids do not obey parents. But society point out towards the parents. So how can we attach? How can we take it into account, or how can we leave it? Is it the mistake of parents or kids?
Oh, you're saying that, okay, if a child does something bad, people, of course, say that the parents must have taught them or something like that,
Yes.
right? How can we get out of that feeling? Is that the question?
Yes, we expect them to be good, at least 70% of a good path.
Yeah,
But
it's a question is
True,
tangential. I mean, of course, it's not related to what we are discussing, but I'll just tell you something. It's like we think that things are in our control, or we try to control them, but they are not really. Right. I mean, so it's just accepting that fact helps.
this
Like,
all
we
creates
want,
a lot of
we are
anxiety.
hankering around getting a promotion. Will it happen or will it not happen is not in our hand, right? We want our kids to be a good person. Will he become a good person or not is not in our hand really, right? Or an engineer or a doctor, maybe not, right? We are not ready to accept that. We think that we will live eternally and take care of our good near ones. Will not happen most likely, or will not happen for sure, right? So things are not in our control. Even that, accepting that things are really controlled by God, is a simple real realization. There is nothing wrong in this. Okay, we don't accept it and we keep on trying to control. So see, scriptures say that, in fact, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says that he is the one who's actually controller of everything. Okay, and as long as we try to take his position, we'll not be happy. We have to accept it, right? That's all what it means, right? It's not, I mean, your child, whatever he's doing is of course what he'll end up becoming, right? I mean, you can, of course, at your it doesn't mean that you don't have to do any effort, but be at peace with it, that whatever be the result, it doesn't matter. It's okay. So detaching from result actually gives us a lot of peace, and that is a very interesting topic which is discussed in Bhagavad Gita called Buddhi Yoga. Okay, just detaching from the result. In fact, doing it for as a service. I mean, if you think that our child actually is not our child really, it's actually a soul which is given to us by God for a purpose. Okay, to grow him as a good human being, right? It's a service to God. If we do raise our child with that feeling, then we are really serving God. You don't need to do anything extra. Just by raising your child, making him a good person will be a service to God. Okay, and so you do that endeavor thinking of it as a service to God. Now, because it's a service to God, the result belongs to God. It doesn't belong to you, right? So you do your service and be at peace with it, and that is good enough to elevate you really. Okay, so that's just a way to think. I mean, it's just a way to deal with the whole thing.
Your answer really makes a sense to me.
Okay, great. Thank you. What else? Any other question?
मतलब हम लोग को अपने बच्चों को एक्चुअली मैं तो ये मतलब मेरा ऐसा सोचना भी नहीं है कि मतलब मतलब ऑब्वियसली हम सब सारे पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों को अच्छा ही बनाना चाहते हैं। मेरे भी पेरेंट्स को मेरे से बहुत एक्सपेक्टेशंस थी, बट आई चोज अ डिफरेंट लाइफ। तो ये मतलब मेरा तो ये मानना है कि यू जस्ट आप सिर्फ बच्चे को बड़ा करते हो, पालते हो, जस्ट ब्रिंग अप द चाइल्ड, और आप फिर उसके बाद यू कैन नॉट मेक देम डू समथिंग जो पहले के पेरेंट्स ऐसा करते भी थे। तो ताकि बच्चा अपने लिए सही चूज करे, मतलब अगर हम ये वाला अप्रोच फॉलो करते हैं कि हम उनको सही तरीके से पालें, बाकी वो अपने लिए खुद रास्ता, अपना डायरेक्शन चूज करे, तो वो सही तरीके में भगवान का इंट्रोडक्शन होना, स्पिरिचुअल चीजों का इन बच्चों की लाइफ में इंट्रोडक्शन होना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है ना?
Of course,
ताकि वो सही डायरेक्शन में जा सके।
बट वो तभी हो सकता है when we actually are introduced to a spiritual life. If we really know the whole things, then only we'll be able to tell it to them, right? Of course, it's very important. I mean, I can tell you this much for sure. I mean, if kids, because they will not be able to otherwise, this is some important thing that we give it to them in their early age, and it should be given at a very early age. If not given,
अब जैसे मेरी बेटी 4.5 साल की है, तो जब वो 5 साल 5.5 साल की होती है, तो मुझे उसको मतलब जैसे आप कहते हैं कि एक जेन्युइन एसोसिएशन होना चाहिए इस चीज के लिए जो सही है, तो वहां पे मतलब मुझे उसको करना चाहिए, राइट?
Even I mean, even 4.5 is not a bad age. I mean, do you know Prahlad, Bhakt Prahlad Maharaj was 5 years of age. Okay, when he used to preach it to his friends, and he actually that was the time when he got darshan of Narasimhadev, and that's when all this. So he was just 5-year-old boy. Okay, so no age
पर
is
उसको
less.
बिठाएंगे कैसे? I mean,
See, it's
उसको जबरदस्ती बिठाना।
No, it's not about making her sit or anything. It's about telling her some nice stories. Okay. There are so many nice books. Like, we can tell her some nice stories about Krishna, about various pastimes, about shlokas, this, that. There are so many ways to engage the kids. Okay. So that they, because see, when they grow up, right, when the hormone kicks in, okay, at that time, it's difficult to put anything in their head. It's better to put it early on. True. So that when they grow up, they really, it just stays with them. Okay.
अच्छा, एक और नरेंद्र जी, मुझे ना एक सवाल ही बहुत देर से आ रहा था मेरे दिमाग में। तो जैसे मान लीजिए अगर मैं अपने बच्चे को अभी से स्पिरिचुअल टीचिंग्स दिलवाती हूँ किसी सही जगह से, और तो और वो साइंस भी पढ़ रही है एट द सेम टाइम, तो विल शी नॉट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड? क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी हैं जो स्पिरिचुअल, जो हमारे स्क्रिप्चर्स में लिखी हुई हैं, पर साइंस उसको डिनाई करता है, या साइंस अभी बहुत इमैच्योर स्टेज पे है, वहां तक पहुंचा नहीं, तो क्या बच्चा बहुत कंफ्यूज नहीं हो जाएगा अगर दोनों साथ में पढ़ रहे हैं तो?
Not really. Actually, see, it is about, like, you tell me one thing. I mean, like, whenever you used to study in school, we were doing it just for the sake of marks. Was it or was it not? Right? Just to get good marks, just to pass the exams and things like that. Right? It is, but I can tell you there is nothing at fault here. I mean, the science is just that you can fill in that gap if you really know what it is. It is possible to fill in that gap also. For example, somebody will say that, oh, the world was created because of Big Bang,
theory of evolution.
the Big Bang
Yeah,
theory,
Big Bang
right?
theory.
The Big Bang theory.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Maybe it was there, but then who actually created that dot? Right, that dot has to be created by somebody, right? From where this entire
जो गॉड पार्टिकल है, जिसको साइंटिस्ट जिसकी खोज में लगे पड़े हैं, गॉड पार्टिकल,
God
जहाँ से
particle is a totally different thing. But basically, the point is,
Okay.
everything has to have a origin. Everything has to have a origin, right? Then who actually gave that first thing, right, in this world? So God cannot be denied, no matter what kind of science we talk about. Just that scientists don't want to talk about beyond a point. They said, no, we cannot. All our theories go break at that point, so we cannot predict anything beyond that, right? But God is required.
बट सपोज बच्चे को बचपन से स्क्रिप्चर्स भी हम पढ़ा रहे, स्पिरिचुअल, उसमें पढ़ रहा है कि नहीं भगवान ने सब क्रिएट किया, बट फिर इसको स्कूल में पढ़ाया जाए कि बिग बैंग थ्योरी से सब क्रिएट हुआ, तो बच्चा कंफ्यूज नहीं हो जाएगा?
Actually, ऐसा होता नहीं. मतलब theory is what you're saying is good in theory, but it doesn't happen in reality.
Yeah, actually,
It doesn't
the science is not at loggerheads with spirituality. The problem is the commentators who write commentary on science, which is at loggerheads with our spirituality.
You're right. Absolutely, you're bang on.
If you
Actually,
go much
that
more,
is the
more
point.
if you
That
are-
is the point. I mean,
Yeah.
there are theist scientists and then there are atheist people. Okay, and who's actually explaining it makes a hell lot of difference. Okay, and it doesn't happen in reality. I can tell you. Like, I have two kids and they have grown up in spirituality. They are growing up and since ages, and they are studying well, and they actually have full faith in spirituality at the same time. Okay, and they are doing good in science also, getting good marks. I mean, that much I can tell you. Okay, so it doesn't happen really. I mean, it's about giving a good culture to our kids. Okay, so that when they grow up, for them, then they are able to distinguish between right and wrong. And it's not just about distinguishing. They will have courage. They will have all the good qualities to be able to handle this world. Okay, spirituality, as you saw, right? Arjuna, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he didn't become a renounced person. But what he became was a person who was able to do his duty more effectively. And that is what we will become also. If this thing is done in a proper guidance, if it is done in an emotional way with your whimsical thoughts, then only emotions and tears will come out. Okay, but it has to be done with a proper guidance. I mean, as I said, our loving and service, I mean, like, if it is positioned in the right way to God, then a lot of magic happens. I mean, you'll actually be more peaceful, more happy in your heart. Yeah, so all that will happen for sure.
नरेंद्र जी, आपके जान पहचान में कोई है जो बच्चों के लिए लेता हो ये सारी क्लासेस, जो ये टीचिंग्स देते हो?
Yeah, so within our group we have multiple classes for kids which are going on even now. I mean, we are taking classes, coding class for kids, which is about to happen in half an hour now. We have Vedic mathematics that we teach to kids. We teach art and crafts to kids. We teach shloka recitation to kids. We also teach many things, dance to kids, and so many other things. I mean, a lot of classes. Of course, now that kid has not enrolled, is difficult. But at the same time, yeah, there are some classes. I mean, like, there are a lot of things that we do as a group. I mean, in our
So how can I get my daughter get enrolled in this?
4 years is a small age. Actually, 4.5. I don't know where she's. I mean, we had some art and craft things which are going on for 5 years around that. Hold on. I mean, like, let me get back which is the right one. I'll get back
Okay.
to you, because all of them are going on and type
Yeah.
of thing right now. So what is the right
Hmm.
point? Maybe I can get back on that.
जहाँ शुरू से हो रहा हो सेशन,
Uh,
बिगिनिंग
yeah.
से हो रहा हो तो
Yes. Yes. Yes.
that will be
But as I said, see,
more
we
helpful.
all want our kids to become get good qualities. It all starts from us as a person. If we have those good things, we'll be able to, because the kids learn the most with their parents, right? What they see us
True.
doing, they will learn on their own. That is what it is all about. Okay. Yeah. So for them, then it becomes natural, right? So we have to become better at it and make them a better person. That's the responsibility that we have. As I said, like, that is the service that we think we are doing for God. I mean, if thought like that, we'll be elevating ourselves for sure. But yeah, okay, I'll get back on the classes part. What else? Anyone else? Any thoughts? Is Advait clear, Hemalji? Or no,
No. Okay. I'm not on mute, right? See, I will just tell you in very brief, like what I understand, and you can build on top of it. Like, see, Advaita his philosophy says, like, me and God are one. There is no distinguishing between him and me. Philosophy says, okay, I may be wrong, but this is what I understood till now. There is God who is separate being from me, and my job is, or my karma or my dharma is to get into the path of bhakti or whatever and get merged with him. That's the Advaita philosophy. Shuddha, I really couldn't understand. Like at the time that when my grandmother tried to teach me, I was very young. I couldn't get it. So,
see,
that's the crux of what I know.
Yeah, so yeah, you are right. I mean, Advait means that, but Advait, the philosophy sounds very interesting. Unfortunately, it is not backed up by scriptures. That is the unfortunate truth. Okay. Now, because it sounds very interesting that I will become God. No, that's not possible. It's not. That is not what scriptures talk about. Okay. As I said, Shvetashwar Upanishad says, Nityo Nityanam. Like there is one person who is eternal, and then there are many persons who are eternal. So both of these eternal beings, quality class of eternal beings, exist forever. Okay. I can quote 50 verses to beat this philosophy. So Advait is a very interesting one, but unfortunate thing, it's not true. Now the coming to Dvait, yes, Dvait has multiple understandings. Like as I said, Shuddha Dvait, Vishishta Dvait, Dvaita Dvait. Okay, and all of this, there is Achinta Vedati Ved. There are many variants of Dvait philosophies, but essentially the bottom line for normal people like us remains one, that the God is eternal, I am eternal, my dharma is to love and serve the God. That is essentially the crux of all of them. I mean, all of them. Like be it Ramanujacharya with his Shuddha Advait, or Madhvacharya with his Vishishadvait, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his Achinta Vedadi Ved, or whoever, they all have told one thing. Yes, Shivaliji. So just one small thing, by the way, we are going to celebrate. Oh, Shivaliji is gone. Oh, but anyways, people who are actually nearby, we are going to celebrate Janmashtami if anybody is interested. I was about to say that, but yeah, they can join. But anyways, I think people who are in Bangalore, who are in variety of other places, that's unfortunate. They can just.
तो हम लोग ऑनलाइन ज्वाइन कर सकते क्या?
They will try. Yeah, Shivaliji, I was saying that we are going to celebrate Janmashtami.
Okay.
Here in Cyber Life. If you are interested, you can join next Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'll share the details. Yes.
वीरेंद्र जी, भगवान जी का पर्पस क्या है? अगर ये अर्थ खत्म हो जाए, सपोज सारे सोल्स चले गए, सपोज मतलब आप सिर्फ सपोज कर लीजिए, तो पर्पस क्या है? मतलब सिर्फ भगवान है और बाकी माइन्यूट स्पिरिट उनको सर्विस रेंडर करते रहे और भगवान जी है वो उनकी टेक केयर करते, बस यही, वो फॉरएवर चलता रहता है, इटर्नल, क्योंकि वहां पे टाइम का तो कोई कॉन्सेप्ट है नहीं.
करेक्ट.
तो इन सब चीजों का पर्पस क्या है?
पर्पस ये है कि देखिए, we as a soul, we are designed in some way, like a stone is designed in some way that it is supposed to be hard, right? The soul has a nature, and that nature is that by love and service they get happiness. Okay.
तो हम लोग इसलिए डिजाइन हुए थे ताकि हम लोगों को सर्विस, लोगों को क्या, भगवान को सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर सके.
It's nice. So see, I mean, you're thinking of service in a very derogatory way. I mean, like, in a bad way, right? But
No,
certainly,
I'm not thinking in a bad way. नहीं, मैं समझ रही हूँ वो bad मतलब not that कि गुलामी नहीं समझ रही मैं, पर मैं ये समझना चाह रही हूँ इन सब का पर्पस क्या है. मतलब अगर भगवान चाहे तो सारे सोल को खत्म कर दे, वो अकेले रहें. मतलब आप समझ रहे हैं, मतलब वो पर्पस क्या है, मतलब क्या वो इट इज फॉर, आई मीन ही इज देयर फॉर एवर, उनका कोई टाइम का भी नहीं है, सोल भी फॉर एवर है.
करेक्ट.
तो इन सब के दोनों चीजों के होने का पर्पस क्या है? व्हाट इज द पर्पस?
हाँ, ओके. देखिए, हम लोग यहाँ पर ना, whenever we think about here in this world, right? So क्या होता है ना, in this world there is a cause and then there is a effect, right? There is a reason and then something happens, things like that, right? Now basically the way it works there is that it's like, the purpose of us, right? You think about ourselves, normal person like us. What is the purpose we are doing everything? The purpose is to be happy, right? We just want to be happy. If you ask anybody in the road, right, why are you doing this? They'll say, I want to be happy, right? That is the purpose. Why I'm studying, why I'm doing my job, why I got married, I have 5 kids, this, that, and number of 100 things, right? The purpose is to be happy, right? And that purpose is fulfilled there when you are eternally happy. Have you heard this movie song? That song goes like this, right? चल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं ऐसे गगन के तले जहाँ गम भी हो आंसू भी न हो बस प्यार ही प्यार पले. That is that eternal sky that I'm talking about. Okay, where there is no gum, no asu, and only love, right? So basically that is the whole thing. I mean, the purpose fulfilled basically. If you are there, then you are happy eternally. What else is the purpose? The purpose for all of it is to be happy, right? The basically there's a book called Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra has a verse which says Anandamayo Bhyasat. It means, yes, yeah, please go ahead. So thank you, all the best. So basically it says what it means, that Anandamayo Bhyasat means that, like, the purpose of soul is to be happy. The soul wants to be happy. That is a natural thing for happy soul. So that thing is fulfilled if the soul is able to realize that place. And it is not that soul only serves the God. It's the God also who serves the soul. It's a natural relationship that they share, a nice relationship. For example, God with his friend, okay, God with his cows, God with his mother and father. So apart from God, all of them are soul. Okay, and that relationship, that love is what they share with each other, and they are all happy like that, and they're eternally like that. God with his gopis and all of it, and they're happy in that form. So that is,
ये बिल्कुल वैसा है ना कि मतलब गॉड एक न्यूक्लियस है, बड़ा सा न्यूक्लियस, और उसके अराउंड छोटे छोटे इलेक्ट्रॉन्स मूव कर रहे हैं, राइट?
but
वैसा,
basically because
I mean
you're
it is
thinking
there.
but you're thinking it in an abstract way. I'm telling you the real thing. The real thing is, think of Krishna, and there are so many wives, so many girlfriends, so many friends, all the mother and father, all the cows and bulls, right? All the trees and all of that. All of them are souls. Think of it like that. And they interact, and they all feel happiness, right? And that is what, and they don't desire anything because they're happy with Krishna's around them. And this is the real thing. It's not theory then anymore. This is the real thing which is happening there. Now, one of them may think that, oh,
तो
why
उन
can't
लोग को
I?
भी ऐसे कुछ दिनचर्या होती होगी क्या वहां पे, कि
Of course, they
मतलब
go out,
उठते
go out for
होंगे,
cow.
सोते होंगे,
Of course, they have a normal life. I
जैसे
mean,
हम,
हाँ,
बस
बिल्कुल.
ये है कि, और वो लोग कभी बूढ़े नहीं होते होंगे ऑब्वियसली,
Correct.
क्योंकि उनके पास बॉडी तो है नहीं,
Exactly.
तो वो कभी बूढ़े नहीं होते होंगे, वो कभी, मतलब वो हमेशा ऐसे ही चलता रहता है, लाइक
Correct. Eternal.
सुबह उठो, मतलब मतलब ऑन रिपीट ना चीजें, वही
No, not
दिनचर्या
not
जो
on.
उनकी है.
Interestingly, it is everything different. Every day may be different. It's God's world you are thinking about, right? Every day could be different. Every day will be new rasa. Every day will be new enjoyment, right? And yeah, thank you, MLG. If you have any question, we can ask. You can ask. We can talk. But yeah, thank you. So basically, every day may be different, right? And they may be enjoying eternally. Like think about in our family, like your family, you are like, every day is like a celebration. Some new things are happening. You're going out, you're doing, enjoying this, that. Every day is happiness. There's no day when somebody is sick or something bad happened or something like that. Think about the world
तो
like that.
मतलब वो वहां कोई बोर नहीं होता, कोई बोर होने वाला कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है.
Correct.
वहां पे कोई आराम भी नहीं करता, कोई थकता भी नहीं, कोई आराम भी नहीं करता.
You may be, may be tired, you may be may sleep, all that will happen. It's a normal world that way, but it doesn't mean that, like, you'll be sad or feel bad about being tired, right? It's okay, you did some work and you're tired now, and you'll relax and things like that. But essentially, still the bottom line remains the same. You'll be happy with all the work that you did. You'll still find happiness. Sometimes it happens, right, that we feel happy even though we are tired, right? Because we did something good. So that kind of a thing. Yeah. So correct. So that's how the spiritual.
ये सारी चीजें इस स्क्रिप्चर्स में लिखी हैं, ये सब आपको स्क्रिप्चर्स के थ्रू पता है?
Yep. I'm not making up any single word here. Whatever I've said
नो,
so
ऑफ
far.
कोर्स नॉट.
Yeah.
नहीं, मुझे लगा कि आपने खुद भी कुछ एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा. तो
See,
एक्चुअली पहले जब मैंने ये सेशन ज्वाइन किया था तो मुझे लगा था कि आप मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि लोग मेडिटेशन करते हैं, फिर लोग दूसरी दुनिया में ही पहुंच जाते हैं. मतलब बहुत ही जो मतलब लोगों के मुंह से सुनती थी मैं, और जो बातें होती थी तो मुझे वैसा लगता था. पर व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड लिसनिंग टू यू तो मुझे लगा नहीं, वो सब तो बहुत ही मिथ है, वैसा तो कुछ
yeah,
होता ही नहीं है.
yeah. Thanks, Atikesh. Thank you. Yeah, if you want to leave, you can. Thank you. Nahi, so see, there are various paths of yoga. Okay, there is a Ashtanga yoga, there is a Jnana yoga, Dhyan yoga, okay, and Karma yoga and things like that, right? I'm talking about Bhakti yoga, but the point is essentially, spiritual world is not accessible to anybody through any of that. Okay, not like that. Nobody in meditation can claim that I go and see spiritual world. Spiritual world can be experienced through Bhakti yoga, though it's possible. There have been yogis in this path who have actually were able to experience it. Okay, and there are references around it. They were able to experience it for sure. So it is possible in elevated stages. It's possible. And see, let's not talk about what I experienced and for my own thing. I mean, would not like to talk about it. But definitely there one thing you can imagine is, like, if I've been doing this for tens of years, it just means that I would have some realization. I would definitely like to talk about that. When we start, we have to start with knowledge, right, and not with emotions. Okay, this is not a path of emotion. Otherwise, you will get into wrong path for sure. This is a science. It has to be practiced as such. That okay, we actually some rules. Let's follow them methodically. You may like doing it, may not like doing it. Let's keep following it methodically. After some time, you'll start getting all those realizations. You'll see some things which will not make
और
sense to
मुझे
you also.
लगता था कि ये इमोशंस की वजह से लोग स्पिरिचुअलिज्म में जाते हैं. मुझे पहले ये लगता था, क्योंकि लोगों के मुंह से मैंने, क्योंकि लोग ऐसे ही गए हैं, लोगों को कुछ फील हुआ, कुछ लगा उनको, तो फिर दे टर्न्ड टुवर्ड्स कि लेट्स फाइंड आउट कि ये क्या है, क्यों है. तो
Yeah, I would rather say that, see, I mean, if we think hard enough, if some person is smart, then he should think about this. Why am I suffering? Who am I? Why am I in this world? Right? What is the purpose of this whole thing? Right? I'm earning money, I'm doing all of this. What is the purpose? What is the end goal? Right? That those questions should be asked by any common person. This is what Vedanta Sutra says. That Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Like, you should inquire now. This is the right time. You are a human. You have intelligence. You should inquire for these things. Those questions should be asked, right? Unfortunately, we don't ask because we are so much into our own enjoyment that we don't bother, right? And that's why we don't get it. But those questions should be asked. The answer should be given by a right authority. If you are able to get one, you have to be lucky. And that's why I said we should start with paying, like, obeisances to our guru, because a person who, because of whom, whoever we are getting this knowledge, but basically otherwise it's not possible. And then with that knowledge we practice, and then we elevate, and it has to be done in a methodical way. It cannot be done whimsically. You cannot just emotionally do it. Like, I cannot give you this knowledge and say that, oh, go ahead, practice it, you will do something, make some assumptions and get into a wrong path, right? But realizations will come.
I get it.
All this theory that I'm saying, you'll be able to realize this.
लॉर्ड बुद्धा ने गौतम बुद्ध ने तो लॉर्ड बुद्धा ने तो ये सारे क्वेश्चंस किए थे, तभी तो वो घर छोड़ के निकल गए थे टू फाइंड द आंसर्स, है ना? उन्होंने काफी यंग एज में ये क्वेश्चंस कर लिए थे कि क्यों इतने सफरिंग्स हैं, क्या है, हम क्यों यहाँ हैं, एंड देन ही अचीव्ड एनलाइटमेंट.
But he had.
आप उनके बारे में कुछ बताना चाहेंगे कि उनको कैसे मिली एनलाइटमेंट, कैसे ज्ञान मिला? क्या उन्होंने किसी को अपना गुरु बनाया था या सिर्फ मेडिटेशन से उनको हुआ?
So scriptures, as per scriptures, Buddha is actually an incarnation of Vishnu. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So he's not a normal yogi. Now he came for a purpose to this world. Okay. That was a time that was the age when actually people got into wrong path, where people started killing, because in yajnas you are supposed to give sacrifices, right? The bali was supposed to be given. Now that was for a purpose, but people started abusing it, okay, and they started killing a lot, and that's when this incarnation happened. And then Buddha said, he came and he was anyway self-realized. He did whatever he did, and he said that, see, ahimsa paramo dharma, like, stop killing. And people said, but it's written in Vedas. So he said Vedas are false. Okay. And this is what Buddha said. And that was a time when almost everyone turned away from Vedas. Okay. That was a big transformation which happened in this India, in country around us. Okay. And then came Shankaracharya. And Shankaracharya gave some philosophy, and he was able to turn back people to Vedas. And as you can see, why is it that in India so many Buddhists are found, but around us so many Buddhists are there? Because Shankaracharya traveled around. Yeah, exactly, around us everywhere, China, this, that, whatever, right? But not in India, because Shankaracharya traveled across India and he brought back people back to Vedas. Okay. All that happened, and then came Ramanujacharya.
अगर वो मतलब क्योंकि वो विष्णु जी के वो थे, रीइंकार्नेशन थे, तो उनसे कैसे ऐसे हो गया कि उन्होंने मतलब इतनी बड़ी बात कह दी कि मतलब
see, there is a purpose. That's what I'm saying. Like, there was a purpose for him, because at that time, I mean, we have to go back to that time when this thing was abused. Like, Brahmanas were not doing properly following, and Vedas were abused to do some wrong things. So at that time, it had to be stopped. So he did that. That was the purpose.
I totally get it.
Okay. So yeah.
अब वो सारा प्रोसेस समझाते लोगों को तो लोग समझते नहीं, तो उन्होंने एक सिंपल सेंटेंस बोल दिया कि ये फेक है और सबने तुरंत मान लिया कि हाँ ये सही कह रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी है ना. मतलब अच्छा, मैंने ये भी सुना है, एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन, मैंने ये भी सुना है कि इस्कॉन में बोला जाता है कि क्या ये सच है कि इस्कॉन में ऐसा है कि जो उनका तरीका है वही फॉलो करो, बाकी तरीके सही नहीं है? क्या ऐसा होता है क्या?
मतलब बाकी
क्योंकि आपने तो ये बताया कि 4 संप्रदाय हैं, आप चारों में से कोई भी फॉलो करके अचीव कर सकते हैं. तो
but you have to follow one
इस्कॉन में, राइट, बट इस्कॉन में क्या ऐसा कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट रूल है कि हम जो कह रहे वही सही है?
ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. देखिए, पॉइंट ये है, ISKCON is also a sampradaya, part of a sampradaya, right? So you have to get associated with one sampradaya, right, and understand from them, and all of them are valid, but you have to follow one of them, right? Otherwise you will get confused, right? So it is a simple math. I mean, like, you follow Sri Sampradaya, follow their rules, get elevated, no problem. Or you follow this one and you follow the rules and get elevated, no problem. Right? But you have to follow one person, right? You cannot follow all of them and get confused about it. So that's the whole point, nothing else. I mean, like, I don't know what kind of incident you are referring to, but things are fairly open. As I said, there are only four things to understand.
No, it is not related to you. नहीं, actually Okay, so my bhabhi, Megha Shukla is my bhabhi, and she only, told me about this. उन्होंने उनके ही थ्रू मैं यहाँ पे आई. तो उन्होंने तो वो बहुत अच्छे से फॉलो करती हैं चीजें जो जो वो मतलब उनकी बहन है वो आप जानते होंगे ना भाभी को तो आप पहले से जान रहे होंगे मेघा शुक्ला को
हाँ,
नहीं
I've never met her.
हाँ
Yeah.
उनकी बहन है नेहा दी तो वो अपनी बहन को फॉलो करती है मतलब वो जो जो बताती हैं और मतलब जो भी मुझे नहीं पता भाभी कैसे करती है पूजा पाठ अच्छे से करती हैं तो मेरा भाई ने थोड़ा बहुत मतलब ही इज टू मच इनटू रीडिंग ही इज टू मच इनटू रीडिंग आर्टिकल्स दिस एंड दैट इन साइंस एंड एवरीथिंग तो लाइक ही नोज अबाउट एवरीथिंग जैक ऑफ ऑल ट्रेड्स जो होते हैं ना वैसे ही तो अब उसको ऐसा लगता है कि इस्कॉन का क्या है इस्कॉन का मतलब उसको लगता है कि सब सही है अपनी जगह बट एक चीज जो मेरे को सही नहीं लगती कि वो इस्कॉन वाले ऐसे प्रमोट करते कि जो हम कह रहे हैं वही सही है बाकी दुनिया में सब गलत है तो लेकिन आप जब से मैंने आपका सेशन ज्वाइन किया मैंने ऐसी तो कोई बात नहीं सुनी तो
हाँ,
मैं
ऐसा
अपने
कुछ
भाई
भी
को
नहीं है.
बोल सकती हूँ कि पता नहीं उसके दिमाग में ये कैसे बैठ गया है आई डोंट नो उसने पता नहीं कौन से किन से मिला किन से बात कर लिया जो इस्कॉन से जुड़े थे
Yeah.
जिससे उसको ये लग गया
Actually, they see people are people. Normal people exist, right? I mean, people like you and me get
हम्म
into this, right, and try to understand this philosophy. Some people get too
हम्म
excited about this whole thing, right? I mean, like, suppose you
हम्म
get too excited about this thing, and if somebody says no, no, you'll say no, 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 this is the right thing, right? Because I've heard it,
हम्म
I'm sure about it, right? And you can say it like this,
हम्म
and some other person will think no, these con people are saying something like this, right? That's what happens. Or you go to a place where somebody is standing with a book stall, right? But he's very charged up. He thinks that
हम्म
no, Bhagavad Gita is the right thing. I know I got benefited by it. And then he'll catch you and he'll say you
हम्म
should take Bhagavad Gita, this, that, whatever. And you will think that these people are like pestering and asking so many questions and things like that, right? But none of it is real. These are normal people like us, right? Somebody could get more excited about something, can say something, but the knowledge is not there. As I said, like that is the reason why we need to get a right person, get the knowledge from them and follow it, right? But people like us, there are, as you can imagine, right? I mean, I am giving a class, I'm not asking anybody to, what is your qualification, are you in a level mind, will you actually do it like this? I don't think
हम्म
whoever wants, people join. I don't even know that from where they are joining. Some people listen to me, whatever. Now
हम्म
they can go outside and say something, right? I cannot control that, right? But that's
हम्म
how it all works. So maybe he met somebody, maybe he didn't like it, maybe the person was right but he was too excited about his point, so he said no, this is the only right thing, nothing else is right. So but okay, but we have to
हम्म
understand, give them a leeway, right?
मतलब we have to give benefit of doubt to people
Correct, yeah, because
because they
normal
are
people,
also human beings
yeah,
yeah
normal people
पर
like us,
इस्कॉन में ऐसा कुछ भी प्रीच नहीं करते कि हमारे ही तरीका से ही ऐसा कुछ नहीं राइट
as I said, because some people who are not qualified to be a preacher, sometimes you may hear them, right? Some new people who have just entered, they are very excited, they are very like whatever, this is the right thing, this, that, whatever, too charged up,
हाँ
and they may
एक्चुअली
say
मेरा
something.
भाई आर्ग्यू भी बहुत करता है ना तो होता क्या है कि जब आप बहुत आर्ग्यू करते हो और आप बहुत ज्यादा कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट नहीं पर आप बहुत ज्यादा लाइक आर्ग्यूमेंट में क्या होता है हम सामने वाले को बस बीट करना चाहते हैं तो मेरा भाई वो करता है तो हो सकता है जिससे वो बहस कर रहा हो वो भी चाह रहा हो कि नहीं आई प्रूव माई पॉइंट वो
Yeah,
उसमें हुआ होगा
correct,
हाँ
correct.
अच्छा एक और चीज नरेंद्र जी आपका टाइम मैं वेस्ट तो नहीं कर रही बस एक ये जो ब्लैक होल है नेबुला है ये गॉड एटम के बारे में भी मैंने सुना कि अब साइंटिस्ट मतलब इलेक्ट्रॉन और न्यूक्लियस और प्रोटॉन न्यूट्रॉन से भी अंदर की चीज ढूंढ रहे हैं कुछ गॉड पार्टिकल है उनको लगता है वहां से पूरी चीज की शुरुआत हुई है तो इन सब चीजों का स्क्रिप्चर्स में कुछ जिक्र है क्या
हाँ, बहुत कुछ है एक्चुअली, lot of it. I mean, like there are 6 types of darshan, darshan shastra, and
हम्म
basically they're written by great sages like Gemini, Astavakra, and all of that. Lot of them, different people wrote a different side of darshans, and basically they talk about a lot of it. I mean, like one theory says that the atom is the origin of everything. The other one says that molecule is the origin of everything. The combination of atoms is called, and like things like that. Like variety of things exist. Like lot of theory exists. There are tons and tons of verses, okay, around it. But darshan,
हम्म
what it means is like a point of view. It's just a way to see things.
हम्म
Okay, different the sages, the way they saw the truth, they are explaining it in different ways. Okay, but the bottom line, see, that's why the simple way to understand it is that this is all material world. I mean, and I'm not focusing, that's why, too much into material world. Okay, this material world,
Mhm.
the nature of it, be it God particle, be it whatever it is temporary. And it is, I mean, we as a soul, so that's why my
तो
focus
मतलब
point,
स्क्रिप्चर्स में ये सब
there is,
स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में नहीं है ये सब ब्लैक होल एंड ऑल या फिर
right.
मतलब होगा पर नाम कुछ और हो मतलब
It
होगा
doesn't,
वहां भी
point is that, like, the point of focus is us. The point of focus is not black hole. I mean, we can talk about that theory, those things exist here also, it's talked about, but what is the outcome of knowing about all of it, right? I mean, there were sages
मुझे
who actually spent,
क्यूरियोसिटी है
I mean, it's okay to be curious, but basically, the point is key. I mean, so the okay, but those things are mentioned. I mean, like, those things are there. It is not that it's not
हम्म
mentioned. Just to satisfy the curiosity, as I
हम्म
said, like,
कोई
there are
द्वार
books.
है मे बी कहीं और जाने का ब्लैक होल को बोलते हैं ना कि वो दूसरे यूनिवर्स या कहीं जाने का कोई रास्ता है तो मे बी हमारे स्क्रिप्चर मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता है मे बी स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में भी
So
वो कोई
scripture,
द्वार हो कहीं जाने का
spiritual. So the scriptures talk about multiple universes. I mean, if you want to hear those scientific theories, and Srimad
हम्म
Bhagavatam, the first book of Srimad Bhagavatam, talks about how this whole thing has been created, how the multiple universes are created, how they look like, how do they interact with each other, and variety of things are explained. I mean, in a very scientific way. And as I said, like deeper scriptures like Darshan, they talk about a lot of these minute, small things also. The theory of relativity is commonplace in scriptures. It's very common. I mean, like, like the
हम्म
time varies
हम्म
from different planets and all that. That is all explained in a very mathematically calculated way, and all those calculations have been proved right also. So the science is there, a lot of science is there. In fact, I know people who actually taught their kids only in Srimad Bhagavatam, only with Srimad Bhagavatam, without sending them to school, only with homeschooling. And those people, those kids,
वाओ
I've met them, they are actually professors in Oxford and things like that. So those things have science. We need to have patience to be able to teach our kids like that. But at the point of focus only for, like, that I want to focus on is like us. Like, how can we become better? In fact, when we become better now, when we become purified now, all of this knowledge will start making more sense to us. That will happen. I mean, these verses, I don't do
मतलब
any effort to.
this is not the right time for me to know all such things ऐसा
Actually, when we get purified, as I said, right? See, if you have heard or not, but Brahmanas in the past, in the Vedic times, used to hold the knowledge, right? And the Brahmana, who is Brahmana, is a person who is purified. Okay, that is the only definition. Brahmana is not by birth; he's by his conduct. He's a purified person, and for them, this knowledge becomes accessible. That's how the Vedic knowledge is. That it becomes accessible. It opens up on its own. I mean, I don't do any effort to remember these
ओके
shlokas. Okay, most of the time, just by hearing it once,
पर
I'm able to remember it.
पर नरेंद्र जी प्लीज आप बता दीजिए मुझे कि ब्लैक होल क्या है स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में क्या कोई रास्ता है कोई द्वार है
नहीं, देखिए, स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में ब्लैक होल नहीं है. ब्लैक होल इज इन दिस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड ओनली, राइट? आई मीन, द पॉइंट
ओके
इज, इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट स्क्रिप्चर्स, yes, scriptures do
हाँ
talk about
स्क्रिप्चर्स में क्या है
but scriptures may see that. I mean, even scientifically also, black hole is not a door. Okay, I'm just talking science. Let me
ओके
talk only science. Okay,
हाँ
as per science,
ओके
there are two things. The one is called black hole, and the other one is called basically a wormhole. Okay, a black hole,
वर्म होल राइट
right? And black hole doesn't go anywhere. Okay, a wormhole is supposed to go to some places, right? I'm just talking science here, right? And science, as per science, you reach to different places or different time or different space through that. But that's also a theory. Okay, nobody has gone through it, and it's not possible to go through it also, right? But as per scriptures, it is possible to travel like that, and that too with normal body also. Like, I mean, there are so many things explained, there are ways explained by which you can travel to outside universes. Within this universe, there were people, I mean, like, all this explained. I don't know if you know, but basically there is Viman Shastra and all is explained in Vedic, this thing, where they actually, the models that can fly, all that is explained properly, which can fly beyond this earth also. Okay, and even you don't
हाँ
need Viman. That is explained, and people actually, somebody in NASA, I can share that video. It's in YouTube. Somebody in NASA actually did that, and they were able to create a model of whatever that scripture says, and that used to fly also. Okay, and even outside also, like people with this body are able to travel outside world and things like that. Is explained. Like there are verses around it. So lot of it that is not yet understood by science. All of it is there. I mean, a lot of it is there, as I said. But see, all of this is again only translates to material world. Within this world, we can go up and down, this, that, whatever. It's okay. But what's the use? There is something beyond this, really, right? I mean, that is that spiritual world that I'm trying to focus on. But yes, all this that is there, and we can talk about it. But no point. I mean, it will again the same thing. I mean, like people go take a spaceship and go out. Okay, through scriptures you'll do something, go out. But that's okay, right? It's essentially translates to the same, to money, power, and ego and greed and things like that. That's all. So
No, I get it.
that's all. But essentially, yeah, it's possible. I mean, and the scriptures definitely talk about it. I mean, I can share those books, I can share those videos and things like that. It's possible, and people have done it.
Yes, I really want to see those videos, जहाँ पे साइंस का और स्क्रिप्चर्स जो एज अ साइंस को जहाँ पे बताया हो कि स्क्रिप्चर्स में क्या है, लाइक हाउ, लाइक इट इज अ साइंस.
Yeah, I
वैसे
can
मैं
share
YouTube
some.
पे ढूंढने वाली हूँ.
Don't try to search in YouTube. The problem with searching on our own is like we find some things which confuse us. I mean, it's better to
Oh.
methodical. I mean, like the spirituality cannot be learned through YouTube and Facebook. Actually, it has to be learned through a person, a guru, and that's how it is supposed to be learned. Otherwise, you'll find all these people like some Guru Mata, some Isha Foundation, something. They have some logic reasoning. They may not be accurate as per scriptures. The reason that you gave, like as I said, it's not scriptural. Those people, they have not actually studied under a guru. A person who has not studied under a guru, what kind of knowledge can he give? Only mental speculation, right? I don't want to demean anyone. I mean, they are great people, but at the same
No,
time,
you don't. See, I am not a hard and fast follower of anybody. मैं तो बस किसी को भी सुनती रहती हूँ. तो ये जो है ये, क्योंकि मेरा भाई भी बहुत ज्यादा जो ये सदगुरु हैं, इनकी बातों मतलब वो कहता है कि बहुत कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी बातें करते हैं वो, और हर बार ही डजंट टॉक सेंस. पर वही है कि क्योंकि मुझे इतनी नॉलेज नहीं है, इतना आई एम वेरी यू कैन कॉल मी डम. मेरे पास इतना शायद ज्ञान नहीं है, तो शायद मैं समझ नहीं पाती हूँ. तो जब मैं सुनती हूँ इनको सदगुरु को, तो मतलब आप मुझे बताइए, मतलब आपके क्या विचार है उनको लेके, ये जो ईशा फाउंडेशन के सदगुरु हैं, मतलब क्यों लोग उनको इतना.
ठीक है, people, it's a fashion actually, but basically a person who claims that he has not studied scriptures, a person who doesn't have a guru, as per scriptural understanding.
But he has a guru. जो सदगुरु है ना, क्योंकि उनके कोई गुरु तो थे, क्योंकि उनकी वाइफ ने जो समाधि ली थी, तो उनके गुरु ही बता रहे थे किसी को, जब उनकी वाइफ सुन लेती है और फिर वो समाधि ले लेती हैं.
But has studied, see, I mean, the point is simple. I mean, it is, as I said, right, कि मतलब it is about following like a teacher and student for years together, and that is how things are learned. It is not whimsically one day I claim that I am realized and now I will start giving knowledge. It doesn't work this way. Otherwise, what you will say will not agree with scriptures. Scriptures say that a guru is supposed to be looked at only when, I mean, he's a valid guru only if he's in agreement with three things. I mean, any truth is in agreement with three things: a guru, a sadhu, and a shastra. A sadhu is somebody who's again another elevated person, and shastra is the scriptures. If these three things agree on something, then that is the right thing to be done. Otherwise, it's mental speculation. So if it agrees with scriptures, then only it makes sense. Otherwise, there is no difference. I mean, like in the past, also in the Vedic times, there had to be a difference, right? So people used to say, see, where, in which verse it is written. Ved Vakya hai kya? Matlab, like, is it written in Vedas? Then only I will trust it, right? Which scriptures? Tell me the verse. We have stopped asking those questions. But if we ask them, then we trust somebody. Like, how else you can trust? Like, I can say something, somebody else in the YouTube video will say something else. People will keep on saying something else, right? What is the frame of reference? So that is the whole point.
मतलब सदगुरु को इतने लाखों करोड़ों लोग फॉलो कर रहे हैं अब, मतलब अब तो वो इंटरनेशनली भी.
Because if I tell you, if I tell everybody sitting here that okay, you can take drugs, it's okay, you can smoke and booze, and there's no rules and regulation. If I tell you, right, it's okay, right? No, you don't need to chant or something like that, right? Oh, you'll get high, you just feel this, that, whatever, right? You'll become Shiva at the end of the day, right? Then that is very lucrative, right? The point I'm saying is, right, what I'm saying here is that, oh, you have to chant, you have to methodically listen, you have to follow, some practices have to be done. Those things actually pinch people. Okay. There is so, but spirituality is like that, where you have to listen to, like, somebody and follow it properly. And if you get into doubt, then ask the questions and get it clarified and practice. And gradually you get elevated. Okay, this is called Guru Parampara. Like, that a guru imparts that knowledge to a disciple, and the disciple imparts it to another person, and things like that, right? So it is like that. That was how it was. We have heard it from our childhood, right? How can we just randomly follow someone and do it, like, and not and no practices?
नहीं मैं फॉलो करने की बात ही नहीं कर रही, मतलब बिकॉज आई डोंट फॉलो हिम, इट्स जस्ट दैट कि आई लिसन टू वीडियोस, तो मैं उनकी भी वीडियोस देख लेती हूँ। मैं ऐसा नहीं कि मैं उनकी बातों को आई बाय इट व्हाटएवर ही सेज, बट आई एम आस्किंग यू कि हाउ ऑथेंटिक इज ही, बिकॉज ही सेज मुझे मेरे सारे आंसर्स मिल चुके हैं।
Authenticity can be determined only through scriptures. That's why I'm saying, what is the frame of reference? And anybody can be actually judged into that. Right? Because
But
otherwise,
he claims that he has read all the scriptures,
right?
he has done so many yogas, and he does lot of meditation, और वो
Meditations and
लोगों को भी यही
scriptures.
बोलते
See,
okay
okay. The
okay
bottom line is
मतलब
that I
योगा
don't.
एंड ऑल काफी प्रमोट करते हैं वो तो।
Promotion is okay, but yoga, do they understand what yoga means? See, I don't want to actually say bad things about anyone. The point is that, okay, they may be doing something. I mean, that is their path. But if something agrees with, I mean, if it is like, as you said, right, a person with simple heart will be able to attain God. No, that is not an agreement with scriptures. That much I can tell you for sure. Right? If something agrees with scriptures, because otherwise, if you make up something on your own, you will get into these kind of confusions. Okay, but it is not how it is, right? It is a repeatable science. All of us can get elevated. All of us belong to God. We are from that world. We have the right to go back, and all of us should be able to do that, right? And this knowledge is perfect that way. The knowledge has been given to us to do that if we are able to follow it. And the way to follow it is through scriptures, through Guru, and it is possible. That is simple math. I mean, this is how the Vedic understanding is, right? If so, I mean, I don't want to say, I mean, like, as I said, like, I don't want to get into controversy.
हाँ, of course, you don't want to give any comment on somebody particular, but मैं भी मतलब उनका example देके उनके जैसे बहुत सारे जो लोग हैं उनका ही मैं जानना चाह रही थी कि मतलब
it's not an emotional thing. Spirituality is not an emotional matter. It is simple thing, again and again repeating, right? We follow, we understand the principles, we follow. If we don't agree, we question, understand it, follow it, and practice it, and we get elevated. And for that, you don't need to actually go become a sadhu or something. In a normal world, with a normal life, gradually you will get elevated. So you get renounced from inside,
in simple terms, spiritual teachings या spiritual world is also a science. वो मतलब एक सब्जेक्ट है जिसको आप पढ़ सकते हैं, मतलब just study the subject.
Yes,
don't become emotional about it कि now मेरे भगवान को देख के emotions जाग गए तो अब मुझे spiritualism में जाना चाहिए. It is not that.
Exactly, that emotions happen, but those are very higher stages. I mean, you would have heard people like Mirabai, that who are like, so much into it. They are very, very elevated stage in bhakti. Okay, none of us are like that. We cannot imitate them till we are at that stage. Okay, those good things happen, but at the right time. But basically, for that, it has to be practiced properly. And if it is practiced properly, but those are like out of the world things. I mean, like, one-off things. But in general, it's like a repeatable science, which can be practiced by everyone. Okay, and you get elevated like that. And you will get realization as you progress. Yeah, you'll get realization which are out of the world. Like you're saying, now, how can I realize this thing, that? You'll get realizations like that. In this world, sitting here, you'll get realizations. But I would not like to talk about them. I would not like to set them as a benchmark. That is not the purpose. The purpose is to be happy. Bottom line. I mean, that's all. And we'll be happy. And you'll get realizations which will be in agreement with scriptures, and you'll be able to see it around you. also. All that happens. I mean, God is not a theory. He's a real person. But if you follow it properly, you will be able to realize God sitting here. That is sure. Everybody, all of us can. That is the Sampradaya's
I
promise.
think in schools also there should be the subject, no, in the
Yeah.
curriculum. One subject
Yeah.
should be there, spiritual subject
Yeah.
or whatever, like scriptures, our ancient scriptures, our Vedas. So one subject must be there.
Of course, I mean that is the reason we as a group, I mean like group meaning like whatever, the people who are associated with me, I mean like all of us try to have lot of classes for kids. We do that. I mean I personally taught in
अब भाई ये
schools.
बच्चों को अलग से हम लोग को करना पड़ेगा. अब स्कूल में प्रोवाइड करते तो थोड़ा
Correct.
इजी हो जाता, कन्वीनियंट हो जाता.
I agree. Yes, yes, yes. That's true. But yeah,
अब ये कि
that's
अब जैसे हम लोग यहाँ यूएई में बैठे हैं तो अब हम लोग को बच्चों को मतलब लैपटॉप के सामने